right. Welcome to the Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast, episode number 89. I'm Dave Z.
My name is Christian.
And my name is Walk Doggin.
Hey.
Was that Wop Doggin?
Wop? Who you calling a wop?
Walk
Italian?
No, it's Grimsby, but I've become obsessed with Walk Doggin.
Walk doggin. Walk doggin. Yeah. And if you don't know what we're talking about,
How do you
Go to our
not know
Facebook
what we're talking about?
somebody doesn't know. Not everyone knows about walk
I
doggin.
feel like everyone who listens to this show knows about Walk Doggin.
And if they don't, then they either A, have to go to Facebook and join our group page, or B, join the Patreon.
Yeah. There you go. Two good things to do. Yes. And speaking of good things to do, we're going to do a lot of good things tonight. Well, I don't know. Well, I'll tell you what. The movies aren't going to make you feel good. The trio of movies, this is our final non-horror episode, although it's kind of horrific because we're talking about, it's a non-horror trilogy about grief given to us from Mark L. We're going to talk about Dear Zachary, a letter to his son about his father, The Hunt, and Dancer in the Dark. However, it's not all going to be gloom and doom. We are also doing a triple R on The Thing from 2011 and the big thing at the end, which is big for us because we're found footage fans, the top 20 found footage movies list, which is also a patron perk. So, although we don't have it anymore, but maybe we should bring it back because this is fun. But anyway, that's what we're doing tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, next week we're going to do our top 20 found footage again. Get out there and rebuy the perk.
Honestly, if I could have watched all the movies on my list, the list may have changed. But that's
Dude, two found footage films, because I've seen a lot. I haven't seen as much as you, but two films I didn't get to see that I really wanted to see. And I'm going to be interested to see if they show up on the list. So I'll talk about them later when we get there.
Looking forward. So we are going to spoiler talk all these movies tonight.
Yes.
So everybody knows, okay? That's the only way to do it for something like this. We're going to try to, I kind of come up with some idea where we're going to talk depressing movie, and then we'll do the thing. Then we'll do depressing movie, and then we're going to do something kind of fun. I have a couple topics to shoot out there. Then the final depressing movie, and then the top 20 at the end. So that's going to be the way the format's hopefully going to go.
And then it'll be time for slit wristin'. Slit wristin'.
I got to tell you, I was not really depressed except for one.
I cried. There's one movie I always cry at. I genuinely cry from. I don't usually cry because most people think I'm dead inside. And there's a second movie where I actually got a tear at one particular part.
I teared up in all three, and none of them had to do with the length of the film, shockingly enough. But no,
he was masturbating and he ran out of lube.
Yeah.
So I teared up.
It's going so hard, my eyes started to fire.
That was a good sound effect.
Hey, since we can't afford the board, we'll continue to do our own.
I got this loop back thing. I don't know what the fuck's going on, but tonight was not the night to fart around with it.
No, maybe next show. Maybe show
Although
9.
the laugh track would have been hilarious when we're talking about some of the things in these movies.
That's true. That would have been nice. Yeah. We'll figure it out, though. There's more on that later.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to find ways to make things funny because you guys found a way to make things funny when I talked about the cat a couple shows ago. And really quick, thank you to everybody because people did reach out to me and they made comments on our pages and said all kinds of things about the cat and how it was a heartwarming story. And thank you for sharing it and everything else. A few people said it brought them to tears. So I wasn't sure about bringing it to the show, but I did. And looking back on it, I probably should have let Brandon and Christian know that I was going to. I just kind of came out with it.
You think?
Yeah, I know. But
I was mad at you that night, so I had a double serving of Chinese food that night.
Chicken cat main.
Cat main. But that's what it's all about. We're kind of like it's kind of like we're playing 3-on-3 basketball. Like no matter what I do, if I have the ball, I can come out and all of a sudden, without even saying anything or signaling, Christian can set a pick, and I could do a pass behind my back to Brandon, and he's ready to catch it and take the shot. It's like no matter. That's what's great about this show.
Of course, I'm Jewish. Of course, I'm gonna miss.
I didn't say hit the shot. I said take it. I wasn't getting that far ahead. But 99% of the time, anything any of us put out there, we can just bounce off it. And I didn't feel uncomfortable about bringing it up because, as always, they made it, they made that story funny, which at times. I mean, it's not a funny story. It's a happy story, really. It's a sad start, a happy finish. And yeah. So thank you, everybody. And I'm glad I didn't bore too many people and, people that don't want to hear too much about little Lucky, but he's doing very well. So, and that's that.
It's funny. That's my nickname. I'm a man of many nicknames, and Lucky has been one of them for a long time.
Oh, that's right. But that makes sense, though, because of your last name.
And it's funny because I don't think that's where it stemmed from, even though that would be the most obvious.
Really?
Yeah, it's funny. But anyway.
Are you lucky?
That's a story for another day.
That's true. Another day. Okay. All right. Shall we get into it? Shall we stalk? Shall we shall we stalk a few people this Halloween? No.
What?
I don't fucking know. I said stalk by accident.
Let's talk about Jack and his beans.
Oh, that wasn't bad. That wasn't bad.
Talk about Jack and his beans.
It went over my head. Yeah, it went over my head for half a second.
Little play on words. I'm still trying to figure out why Christian's lucky.
Lucky.
I know why he's lucky. Because he doesn't have to look at himself like we do during these.
The
guy that hasn't seen a barber for the last fucking year.
I really haven't. And look, for those of you who have the video feed, I'm turning into Walk Skunkin. Walk Skunkin.
so skunktified.
Wow.
Okay, off to the races.
Yeah, here we go.
What do you want to do? What movie you want to do first? It's kind of B's role now. He gets.
Yeah, I do this, and this is really no in particular order because I'm just gonna come out and spoil it ahead of time. I love all three of these movies. I've seen all three of these movies before, and I'm just gonna jump right into it with 2000's Lars von Trier written and directed Dancer in the Dark, starring Bjork. An Eastern European girl goes to America with her young son, expecting it to be like a Hollywood film. I don't really like that description. It's more like that's terrible. She doesn't. First of all, she's already there, and it's more of a setup of she's really grinding and working hard to save for her son's operation that he's going to need because he has a degenerative eye disease, which she has, which he doesn't know about, and she sort of gets daydream and loses herself into musical Hollywood sort of fantasies because that's something she loved for a long time. And man, this is one of my favorite Von Trier film.
Yeah. And she gets boned. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
But no, Von Trier. Yeah, sorry, please.
No. I was just going to add. Did they establish the year at the beginning?
64.
Okay. For whatever. I mean, I know the cop car and everything, so I knew it was. I thought it was in the early 70s, so I was off. But
I don't know why I paid attention and saw that because I knew it wasn't like 2000. So like at some point they said 64. So
wow.
Yeah, given the time and everything, and
wow, I didn't even think about that. But now that you mentioned, the cop car did look kind of funny. Wow, I thought it was like present day. I didn't think for a second about it being
$2,000 for an eye operation. Like that might get you like an eyelash.
Eyelashing.
For you Americans out there. Yeah.
Hey, if you spit on the ground in Singapore, you get I hear you get 50 eyelashes.
Diving out my window over here.
All right, so Selma Jeskova, Bjork, Washington State, 1964, Czechoslovakian immigrant. Preteen son, Jean, and basically it's her struggle to save money, work in the factories as she's going blind, which I find very interesting, which is like heartbreaking and like an amazing scene at the same time because she really portrays it well.
Mm-hmm.
Like
she's amazing in this movie.
She really is. She really is.
Wow, I didn't think I could love her anymore.
Yeah,
and I do.
I love her voice.
Mm-hmm.
She's got a fantastic voice.
I mean, and she's adorable. She's got a unique look to her as well. And I can't believe she didn't do more movies.
Right? She just doesn't want to. She has other interests. I don't even know how I understand why she was selected, because it's a musical, and because she can do her own music, which she did. Which this is 2000, and this is kind of where I was big into Bjork. Still kind of hanging on about this time. I really loved her second album the most. Post, fucking love it. And then her third album, I think, Homogenic, came out in like 97, 98. This is 2000, so I was still hanging on. But the thing is, as the movie, as the first song is playing and she goes into a musical number, I'm like, okay, this is obviously her style of music too. Then when the second song comes in and she's singing on the by the train, and the beats come in, I say these are fucking Bjork beats, because Bjork not only sings her on her album, of course she sings, but she produces her own stuff too. She does her own beats. She's a producer in her own right.
She grows her own beats. She has a beat farm.
The beat farm.
In Czechoslovakia.
But yo, those beats came up and it sounded like a song from Homogenic. And I was like, not only she's doing this whole fucking thing. So Von Trier is smart to say, hey, let's get this girl in and she'll do all this stuff. And like the soundtrack I had to look it up. And it's called Selma Songs, because that's the character in the movie. And it's only like 7 or 8 songs. So, but at the time, I was still like, really following her musical career, and this got by me that this came out in like 2000, because it's like this. I guess maybe it was an EP, but I was like, these are all good songs, and it's like even in the beginning when she's singing and she's just doing "Off We the Zen," I'll do that freaking thing, and she's rehearsing the musical and all that. I'm like, 100%.
These are a few of my favorite things.
Yes, it was great. It was charming. Oh, yeah, dude. And she's such a doll. And her singing voice is the same as her speaking voice. And
yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't always see that. Usually people, when they speak,
she's got such a unique sound.
She's like a little pixie, man.
Yeah.
She's always reminded me of a pixie.
I expected a lot more racism than if it was in the 60s. She doesn't really face any racism.
Oh, true.
For being an immigrant, she's landing a job, she's working, she's doing the grind. Essentially, it's funny that she's doing everything to sort of get that American dream, even though that's not her intention by any means. She just wants to be able to afford the surgery for her son. And meanwhile, the cop, who is actually working and doing everything, he's fucking broke.
Because of his wife.
Which brings me to the only question in the movie, and there, a few of these movies, there was a bit of frustration that kicked in. Not enough to tear me away from the movie and really come down on it, but enough to make me say, just say something. Fucking say something. I mean, I understand she was keeping a secret. But based on where the story went, maybe you could have let the secret out. Also, don't you think the bank mortgage thing would have come up at some point? It seems to have been hidden. Or forgotten.
Well, hold on.
Okay.
Wait a minute. What do you mean by the bank mortgage thing would have come up? Who would have brought it up?
He is saying that the bank's coming after him, is he not? Like saying that he's
Bill,
trying to buy himself some more time.
Yeah, Bill, the cop. But you know what? But Linda, they portray her character as sort of this very self-indulged individual who's only concerned with, spending money and toting that she has money, because she's the one who mentions to Selma. Selma's the one that mentions that Linda likes when people talk about her money when her and Jean go over, which is true. She does, because she doesn't complain about it. She only puts a spin on it later on in the film. And I really feel that's why Selma sort of hides it. I feel like any sort of any sort of notion that this poor immigrant has any type of money would be definitely frowned upon, because she's really sort of looked down upon from everyone, with the exception of Kathy, her friend, and Jeff, who's in love with her.
I don't think she's looked down on by anybody, really. I mean, later on, when she's
mistreated at work. They kind of talk down to her. You put 2 plates. They kind of
she is daydreaming. I mean, she's
she's fucking up.
Like, she's actually doing stuff that. Like, I thought her shift manager guy gave her a break when he let her go. It was kind of sad, but then he was also going, maybe we could get you something away from the machinery where vision doesn't matter so much. Like, I thought they tried.
I thought too. That's a big fucking deal. Remember what the guy said? Yeah. If you put 2 plates there, the whole fucking factory has to shut down the next day.
Yes, but if you notice, there's other women in the factory, and they're not talking to the other women like they are her. So
they're not fucking up. Because they're not going blind.
No, even you have to be faster. Even the cop, the way he sort of talks to her. I'm not saying they're bad people, but they're definitely treating her like she's not an American.
I didn't get that. I thought that they were busting her balls because she was slow because she's going blind, doesn't want to tell anybody.
That's what I thought too, Dave. I thought she was too daydreaming about wanting to be
Right.
in the musical, getting this thing going, and everything else. And it was actually eating into work time, which
all that is happening, but there is a tone from these characters outside of her close-knit friends that is a little bit where she's aware that she, has to be careful around them.
Maybe you're right. You've seen this before. Oh, for the record, all three of these movies are first-time watches for me.
Same with me. Well, same with me. I did have, my wife did get Dancer in the Dark as a screener back in 2000 or whenever she hit a video based on that job she had. And I remember her saying, like, we were both Bjork fans, and she put it on and she said she had to turn it off because she thought it was so freaking depressing. So I think I started it with her, but then I had to go to work. So I just remember her having that videotape in our collection, but never. So when the movie was brought up, I'm like, oh my God, I totally forgot about that film. So yeah, it was a very long-winded way to say this was my first time watch.
That's okay. That's all right. No one's more long-winded than me.
Took them 20 years to watch it.
No, but let me go back to something, Christian. I think she is one of the most noblest characters I've ever seen. She never does, even though that guy fucked with her, but still, this man's memory is preserved to this fucking woman the way he wanted it to be.
No, you're right.
All the way to the end, even when she could have sold him out. Because you know what?
True.
Look, I'm not saying that these were bad characters. I genuinely think Bill and Linda did care about Selma and Jean. I'm not saying that they look down on her in the sense that, we hate you. But it's almost as if everybody in her life kind of looked at her like, oh, you're like almost like a charity case in that way, almost like a pity, like they pitied her in a way where even though she's getting lost in daydreams and she's struggling and she's going blind, she never lets you have that feeling about her. I mean, there are a few moments where she loses control towards the end, which are very sad. But for the most part, like you said, this is a noble, strong character in the face of just absolute heartache and heartbreak. And I don't believe she came to America for the American dream. She came simply to save her son and to give him a life.
I didn't say she came for the American dream, but she's actually living it without actually trying to pursue it. She's saving money. No one else seems to be saving money. No one could believe that she saved the money. And these are all the things everybody just spends and consumes and whatever. Well, back then. And I'm just saying that she had there was a mission and she was following through in the mission. This woman had at that time would have probably been the equivalent of maybe $25,000 or more.
Yeah. But and even having that and even achieving that success, it still affected her negatively because she never buys her son a birthday gift or anything. It's Bill and Linda who buy the bike, and even during the trial, she's being criticized. You never bought your son a gift, and she can't say anything. And it's the noblest thing. She gave him the greatest gift of all, the ability to see his grandchildren. Which, oh my God, there's so many powerful lines and foreshadowing of things that are going to happen, in the ether after this movie ends. And things go on, but man, whew.
Yeah, well, she gets boned. That's the bottom line. I mean, she's doing all the right things. She's scrimping and saving and doing what she can for her son because it's this existing condition that's in her family, and her eyesight's getting worse by the day, and now he can't know about it. That's just it. She's bullshitting him, saying that she's sending the money to her father back home. You know what I mean? So if he knows that he needs this surgery, which he can't have till he's 13, but he's approaching it. If he knows that he could go blind, somehow the stress of that could affect the results of the surgery. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So he can't know any of this. That's which is a
great little ad to make it. I'm sure it's true. I'm sure it's medically true. If you know about it, I'm sure it makes it worse. But yeah, it's great, and the fact that she calls her father Novi, which is the famous actor and dancer from Czechoslovakia who shows up at the end of the trial, played by Joel Grey, who's fantastic. You know,
yeah. How about Udo Kier popping up for a minute?
Udo Kier, great. Jelko Ivanek. I hope I'm not butchering his name.
Great cast.
It's Siobhan Fallon as the prison guard. She
was good.
She brought a tear to my eye. Catherine Deneuve. I mean we'll get there, but
the prison guard, like, it was so against what you usually see in a film too. Usually they're so hard ass and like, and it was totally the opposite way.
I think it's kind of easy for some people to really see that she, what happened was, a product of something else, but she couldn't talk. She would not save herself at the expense of losing everything for Gene.
And does boned mean something else in the States? Because when I say, oh, she got boned,
you mean sex?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that could be sexual too. Boned is a word that my friend and I, we've been using that word for years. I don't know if anybody uses it, but me and a couple friends of mine.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of sex scenes also, Christian. Or I'm thinking, when I heard bone, I was like, was she walk dogging?
She got Bjort?
She got Bjort, yeah, but I thought maybe it was a Czechoslovakian word.
Well, okay, she got screwed. I just say boned. It's kind of like my own thing. She got dogged, but
she got walked
dogged.
Yeah. She got dogged, that girl.
Well,
but you know what I noticed?
Was this his first feature film? Sorry, Dave, I didn't cut you up.
Okay.
I think it was. I'm going by memory, though.
Here's what's weird about it.
Are you looking at it?
I'm actually trying to.
I'm sure B is. Von Trier. How weird is this? He's very artistic in everything I've seen, and as far as I'm concerned, he's 3 for 3 for me. And I've seen Antichrist, I've seen the House of Jack built last year, and now this. So he's 3 for 3 for me. I haven't seen the other stuff. I have got to see Nymphomaniac. I have got to see it.
Volume 1 and 2.
I actually really liked Dogville. It's different. It's not for everybody. And one film that he did that really kind of tripped me out is Melancholia. Really, really messed with me, especially the ending.
I gotta watch all his things.
Yeah,
I just haven't yet.
It's tough. It's tough for me to like. I really like his films, but man, this guy, I'd love to just meet him and punch him right in the face.
Well, it's weird because when the movie begins, it starts off like a typical artsy movie with the opening credits and
3
the
minutes
way
of like dissolved. Yeah.
Yes, trippy shit. Then the movie starts and it's the quality of a freaking home video. I'm like,
okay, I didn't think it was the quality of a home video. See, this is what I like to say. This director likes to punish his audiences, not through his filmmaking technique, but through the subject matter and what happens to its characters.
Yeah.
But the filming itself is very artistic.
A little bit like Haneke Haneke, however you say his name, who did Funny Games and stuff.
And Cash or Cash or whatever.
Yeah, very much. Very much. I don't know. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Cash or Cache. I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but very much
very similar.
Yeah.
Artsy. From a technical standpoint, like in this one, Dave. So it breaks all the rules of filmmaking from what I remember in school, based on like the line of the x-axis or whatever it is, where like you'll be looking one way and then he'll just completely cut to the other angle, so you're kind of disillusioned. But because it's so fluid, it's camera style, you kind of just get used to it. But he loves that extreme close-up and fluid back and forth, very handheld. But the dance numbers then are that's where you'll see a totally different style kick in, because the choreography and everything is meticulous there. And they're really well done. Yeah.
It's just an interesting artistic choice to do it that style. It's almost like a found footage movie. Speaking that, the way it looks, it's like a documentary about Selma. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's interesting.
Maybe he wanted that. Like when the movie first kicked in, because I didn't read anything up about this because I wanted to go in. Right. I think B mentioned it an episode or two back, saying go in like without knowing anything about any of these movies.
Always do.
And so I just, other than the memory I had with my wife back in 2000, whenever we got that screener, that's it. Didn't remember anything else. So I was like, shit, is this about her? Was this like a documentary, and maybe it's about her at the beginning when it first
Imagine
kicks
that.
in, because it's just her like
Right.
dancing
It
around
looks,
this,
yeah,
and
it's
then
very documentary. You would
at the
think that's
beginning.
Bjork doing
Yeah.
some local theater in some small town in Czechoslovakia.
and they just jump you right in. And
Iceland.
Then, and then boom. before
Iceland,
you know,
sorry.
Yeah, you keep saying Czechoslovakia.
Well,
and
in
I
the
just wanna
movie it
reach to
is.
the computer
In the
and
movie,
slap
she's
it.
playing a Czechoslovakian.
Yeah, in the
but
movie
I didn't
she
realize
is.
she's from Iceland.
Fucking Americans, always wedging them way into everything. Yeah. We'll get to it because that's my big problem with the thing.
Interesting. Did you guys realize that woman, what's her name, Linda? Is that her name, the wife?
Yeah, Catherine.
Okay.
Oh, no, Linda, the wife. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I didn't realize until they were in the courtroom that is the hooker from American Psycho.
Yeah, look at America. So yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize until I saw her in that very scene with her hair pulled back. I go, wait a minute. That's the one that Bateman beat the shit out of a couple of times, the streetwalker. Yeah, it just
Is that the one he
didn't
drops that's when he drops the chainsaw on, right? Or no?
It is.
Yeah, because I thought I saw Bjork like try to chuck a chainsaw at her, but she couldn't see, and she hit one of the lawyers in the head.
Yeah. That was
The song.
version.
I mean, you brought it up in particular because the second song that she does.
great stuff. It won an award, and she won an award for her performance at Cannes.
Wait,
Yeah,
is
and
the
it was-
second song the train one? I like the one when it's the industrial one where
The
machine
industrial
goes
song's very
click,
good.
Bang, bang. Yeah, that was great.
But the
That was great.
lyrics on the second song, I've seen it all.
I've seen it all. Yeah.
I've seen it all, and some of the lyrics in there about seeing any more would be greedy. Oh my God, heartbreaking lyrics, and man,
Okay.
and I love the whole idea when she's at the movie with her friend with Kathy, and she talks about how she would always leave the theater before the last song.
Oh,
And
yeah.
how that plays into the music at the end. This isn't the last song. Oh my God, such beautiful poetic lyrics and lines in this film.
And maybe we should point out that if you didn't know and you just put this movie on, you might be a little surprised to find out that there's like 4 or 5, well, actually more now, musical numbers. Because I don't think people would be expecting that. I mean, other than the fact that it's Bjork. And Dave did mention it earlier, but they're literally musical numbers in this movie.
And I call this movie a musical, even though there's a lot of non-musical aspects. But you have to at least warn people, because if people don't like musicals, they might get taken out of it. But the story is so strong that even if you're not a musical fan, you should watch this movie, because just look at it more as a daydream, because that's how the songs are presented.
Well, it's so funny because I watched Anna and the Apocalypse last night with my family.
And that had nothing to do with Bjork.
A second time. It was just weird because I'm like a musical thing, and I left Dancer in the Dark for this morning, and I'm like, oh my God, like 2 musicals in like one day in like 24 hours. And I consider myself a musical fan.
Look at you going all Fosse.
Yeah. He would have been in heaven. Oh, man.
Heaven, I'm in heaven.
Heaven. I know that
Dancing
one, too.
cheek to cheek.
Nice.
It's a Fred Astaire kind of night.
Yeah, look at us.
Twinkle Toes.
Wow.
Look at us. Twinkle
Toes,
That's your
Flintstones.
name. Twinkle Toes.
Oh, man.
Gotta
How about
tap
at the
dance
end
in
when
it.
she's really singing Bjork? In the end, it's not a musical number. She really goes into song when she's placed in that position at the end. It doesn't go into musical number. I love that aspect
Love
of it.
it.
Oh,
Love
Real.
it. Love
And
it.
then
And when
what
that
happened?
song ended, holy
Oh.
shit.
Or almost ended, because it didn't really fucking end.
And that's the other thing, because
And
did they do that as? I mean, we said we're spoiling. I don't really want to
don't
spoil
have
the end, but it is a question I had. I didn't realize that was a form of.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I can't say anything but by saying it, you spoil what happens.
I know in Texas it was still going on in 2000.
Well,
I
and
don't
if
know
you
what
haven't figured it out by now,
Well, in the 60s. Don't forget, this is the 60s.
yeah.
Oh, this is the 60s.
Yeah, this was definitely going
Definitely
on.
in Texas. Shit. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Get it. Yeah.
And man, that whole 107 steps and just, singing with all the other prisoners and, man, everything. Everything.
And the way it ends with the glasses and all that
Oh
stuff.
my God, that's
falling for sun and all that.
That is the part during this movie when I cried, because she has that falling out with Kathy, because Kathy really doesn't see Selma's vision as to why she wants to play it out the way it's going to play out. She wants her to do something different, and she doesn't. And then in the end, Kathy runs up and says something to her and gives her something, and it's just like, a tear immediately just strolled down my face, and I'm like, oh my god.
No, it's touching, but I think that was there for emotional power. I don't think she would have been allowed up there.
No, I don't think so either, because she like ran around.
Yeah.
She ran. I'm like,
ran right in. I'm like, whoa.
Not allowed.
But then what took me out of the moment is when she said, "You just broke my glasses," and I was like, I just got pulled right out.
You fucking skunk. You might have just ruined this movie for me. I'm lowering my rating now because she broke her glasses. It would have been funny if Gene showed up. It's like, you just broke my glasses.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Well, let's not spoil anything else. Let's just say the girl gets fucking framed in some BS, and people that you trusted.
Like you said, even the whole framing scene and the way that plays out, it's great. It's great because it's angering and it's emotional, but there's also there's a sense of, what's the word I'm looking for, where he doesn't really want to be doing it. A sense of like remorse as it's playing out.
Regret, almost.
Regret and remorse. Where
but he's a pussy. He is. Because this guy's a pussy. If he's not a pussy, this doesn't happen. Big fucking deal. Man up and tell your wife. They don't even have kids. So what? So what if they get a divorce? He's the guy that had the inheritance. She'll walk off with nothing. He's that hung up on the girl that he can't say, hey, listen, I don't have as much money as you thought. We're going to have to not buy new couches or any of this shit. And that's the end of it. He would rather die.
I totally agree.
Or shoot yourself. I mean, not that I'm a big
because he talks about how he tried himself, but she's gonna have to do it. So in essence, to save him, she has to ruin herself, and that's why I talk about the way I see these characters, even though they're helpful in the beginning and throughout to Selma. At certain points, that's why I see a little bit of looking down upon and almost overpowering and sort of disrespecting her in a way. Whereas as Jeff and Kathy are the only ones where she can truly be herself too. It's always like she's walking on eggshells with everyone else. So that because she almost feels like she has to like stay in line, like she's beneath them, because that's the way I feel like these other characters made her feel. But really just a powerful film, great performances, great staff, and great cast. Great staff also.
Great staff, yeah.
And man, I love it. Just Joel Grey dancing in the courtroom. Oh, yeah. It's time for Walk Doggin.
Enjoyed the show.
Who is that? Let's see. It's Christian's dog. Just Christian's.
He won't come in now. Oh no. Shit. Damn it.
Here. We're talking.
Okay.
We're probably
I pulled my hardwired Ethernet cable came out, and I'm like, no. So I just lost you guys for so you'll hear me going, oh fuck, god damn it, and then you guys came back on.
Oh, that's gonna be even better.
Wonderful. As me and Dave were just discussing the most pivotal part of the movie and dropping knowledge on the meaning of life.
Yeah. And I blamed Brandon. That's what you missed. I said, you wanted to see his dog.
I did want to see the dog.
I turned it and I pulled the fucking cable out. I'm like, you son of a fuck.
I pictured Christian over there once and for all. You just broke my doggy.
I don't know if he wants to see you though. He's a German Shepherd.
Oh God, he could probably smell me.
Auf Wiedersehen. Yes.
I want to chew your neck.
I want to chew your neck and make you take a shower.
Oh.
No.
Ouch.
Horrible.
Ouch.
Horrible.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm talking about with these movies. It's kind of hard to talk about because even though I'll say this, and we've said it before. You know, even if you're listening at this point and you haven't seen this movie, for not only this movie, if for some reason you can find this out, but the other two movies, definitely just watch them before listening to anything about them. I told these guys not even to look up the synopsis for some of these films.
I never do.
And I mean, it's just it's these types of films. I love these films because they're emotional journeys. They're hard to watch. They're frustrating. They're angering, but they're also uplifting and inspirational in a way. They take you, through the whole gauntlet of emotions, and this one's, a powerful example of that style of filmmaking.
I honestly didn't know what to expect. I was actually thinking it was going to go much darker as the story progressed because this movie is 2 hours and 20 minutes. He does like to
Yeah,
take his
it's a little-
time with
it's
his
long.
films. He
It's long.
does like to take his time with his films. It like a lot of movies at this length, you don't really notice it though. I mean, I could have done maybe without the 3-minute introduction of the art piece, but again, I'm not an art connoisseur, so I couldn't, pull anything from it other than this is taking 3 minutes of the movie time up of a 2 hour and 20-minute movie. But where I'm actually going with it is, I actually thought she was going to go blind. They referenced that gun earlier. At one point, I'm like, is she going to fucking shoot her son or something? I thought it was going to go really dark. Like, at some point.
And she was close to fully. I mean, she's shooting and missing.
Oh.
The scene walking home on the train track, she's using her foot as a guide. I mean, she's I mean, if she's not fully there, she's almost fully there.
Yeah, it sucked. That was sad.
Yeah, very, very sad. What a performance. Oh my God. And what a voice. Jesus. It's just such a unique sound.
Yes. She's a unique performer.
Yeah, she really is.
Not everybody's cup of tea, and I get that. But I've always been a fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she won the award for her performance.
Yeah, and it was Oscar nominated, Golden Globe nominated. Just a well-received song and a well-received movie, and great cast. A lot of actors and actresses you'll recognize from tons of other projects, and everyone I think did a great job.
And this movie, actually, all 3 movies tonight can be accessed online. This one I watched free on Vudu. It's one of the on Vudu, some are free and some are not, with ads, of course. So you'll get a couple ads, maybe 5 minutes total in a freaking 2 hour, 20-minute movie. So that's fine. But
it's 2 hours and 25 minutes.
Yeah, right. It's true. But watch it. Go on, get on Vudu and watch this movie. And the other ones, I know they can all be seen, and they should all be seen. So,
without a doubt.
But we should wrap this one up. I don't know.
Do it. I'm ready to rate. I mean,
go ahead. I want to hear you first because I want to see. I know where I stand, and I'm curious as to where
you know what.
Stand.
Yeah, actually, this conversation actually talked me up a little bit. I'm very high to begin with. I'm going to come up a half a point even more because I really I think this is a fantastic film, and despite Von Trier and the things he says, and despite him, this movie is a 9.5 out of 10 for me.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, it is for me too.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
It was a 9. At least I don't feel alone on that.
No, I was gonna go with 9, and then I'm like, you know what? I can't see, dropping a whole point, half a point maybe, just for maybe tighten up the editing a little bit, make it 15 minutes shorter. But like you said, there was no dragging in this because it's you're drawn into it with these characters. So
my enjoyment of all 3 movies escalated with each movie, and this was my last one. I came in at a 9. I thought I might have been the highest, so I'm actually I hope I didn't it didn't make the Hall of Fame.
It did make the Hall of Fame.
Holy shit!
Because I was hoping I didn't fuck it, because I could come in higher, but I just felt like maybe it was a little long. But as I just said 5 minutes ago, it doesn't feel long while you're watching it. It's just that opening scene. You feel they could have just done some trimming here and there.
Yeah, you didn't fuck it, but you might have just fucked the other 2.
I boned it.
You might have boned the other. You might have bjorked it.
Wow. Damn. A non-horror movie in the Hall of Fame. Yeah. Never thought I'd see the day.
Man, it's good.
Yeah, no, it's very good. It's very good. Okay. Are we ready? Are we ready to move on to Triple R time?
Triple R.
Triple R. Now, this one comes to us. I want to say, I'm going to have to look up who gave us this one. I was trying to be nice and smooth and go right into it, but the movie is The Thing, not That Thing, because we've already talked about That Thing, but this is The Thing from 2011, and this comes from Kyle. So, Triple R time. Christian said something, I'm sorry, B, do your thing.
Oh, no, go ahead, say. What were you going to say?
No, I'm really curious about Christian because he alluded to something before about something being wedged in somewhere.
The Americans?
Americans.
Yeah, bastard. Yeah,
First Vietnam, now The Thing 2011.
Well, I'll just say before I introduce this was a first time watch for me, and we're talking about The Thing from 2011. At an Antarctica research site, the discovery of an alien craft leads to a confrontation between graduate student Kate Lloyd and scientist Dr. Sander Halvorsen. Yeah, all right. So first time watch. I take it you guys have seen this one before.
I own it, as a matter of fact. Okay. I own the Blu-ray. This is I don't know if I blind bought it. I may have blind bought it for like $1 or something when Blockbuster was closing. They had I was all the Blockbusters in this area kind of closing at the same time, and I went to some sales. I could be wrong about that, but I have a feeling I got it for like $1. I said, okay, I've never seen this. I'm hearing some mixed things on it. I'll check it out. And this is probably the third time I've seen it. And I'll tell you something. My opinions, I think, of this movie are I don't know. I think they're going to be different from a lot of what I hear. I think
what do people say? Because this was the first time watch for me, and I have a strong opinion one way towards this.
Okay, what do you think people say? What have you heard?
I have a feeling people are negative on it just because the original is such a classic.
I think
so. But man, I think this is absolutely a terrific homage slash prequel to said classic. I really enjoyed this.
I do too, and I think that if the original never existed and people had no knowledge of it, like I'm talking average Joe, went to the theater and just saw this movie, and there was no The Thing, this is just a standalone movie, I think people would love it. I think it would have been more revered.
Perfect example of that statement is this movie, I think. I totally agree with that.
Yeah. Christian, I think you think differently about it.
No.
I'm sorry.
The first time I saw the film, I was not that high. I just thought it was okay. And then the surprise was, because I didn't know anything about it going in, I thought it was a sequel. So then I thought it was really kind of cool that when you find out it takes place in 1982, and then it's a setup for, of course, what we get with the John Carpenter movie. The first time I watched it, I remember thinking that I don't know why I thought this, but I remember thinking that the effects where they're showing when they're looking through the microscope and they're seeing the organisms absorb, just duplicate them, I thought looked really cheesy. I don't know why I thought that. I just remember seeing that. And so I was waiting for it when watching it this time. I'm like, no, they're totally fine. My one major quibble was in wedging in the Americans, because it was just Norwegian from our understanding there. The Americans had their own site. So that part I didn't think was necessary. I didn't think they needed Americans there, but that's besides the point. And
well, they want to play to an American audience, and you know how these fucking people are.
I hear you. So I could give it a bit of a pass there. And then the second thing was, although the creature design was fantastic, man, the CG was spotty. But
yes and yes. Yes, 100%.
But the design of the creatures were phenomenal.
Yep. And do you remember when this movie was being made? They were bragging about it. They were touting the fact that they weren't going to go CGI in this. They were going to go practical. I remember. Now, the story that I heard goes studio interference, saying, no, we want you to put more CG in it as well. And so I guess there was a compromise met. Again, I don't know this to be a fact. I heard it somewhere along the way that's what happened.
I wasn't overly displeased with the CG.
It wasn't terrible, but by comparison of
comparison,
it wasn't the Mist, but it was pretty. It was still pretty dated for a movie that came out years after the Mist, and when it should have been probably a little bit more fluid.
Well,
it wasn't terrible. It was noticeable.
Yeah, I mean, it's noticeable, but even the practical, as good as it is in this film, it's so weird. You go back to 82 and it's like, man, that practical, like, why is that practical from that time period? Just, why is it so much better than it is now?
I don't know, but I mean, that is a perfect example of when you try to talk to people that just don't get it, that are just fans of, modern film and modern horror, and specifically when you talk to them about, practical versus CG, and they don't get, like my daughter, who you would think would understand it more because she's been brought up on 80s things and everything else. But when I talk to her about the difference between the CG and the practical, and she doesn't seem to see the difference. I just want to sit her down and say, okay, let's watch The Thing 82 and let's immediately follow it up with The Thing 2011. And you're going to sit there and be able to tell me that this is better? There's no way anyone could think it was better. I can't see that.
And I'm not hating on it because I still really enjoy it, and to me it looked good, CG and practical in the new one. But man, it looks so far off from 82. It's like, can these guys pass on their talents to these people, to new people, or did the talent just stop there?
I think they stopped hiring the talent. I just think that it became less and less a thing because computers apparently are cheaper. I guess. I mean, why? Or maybe no, time is money. It's quicker to do it with computers than it is to do it practically, and time is money. So that's why
it's cost effective. Yeah.
Apparently,
even the people who are working today, even like the Nicotero's effects. I think he does great work on The Walking Dead, but even like his older effects, I guess because he just had the freedom then.
I guess so. Sure. But then there's CG on that show too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because I'm saying he's not in, I guess, complete control of the effects. So he's got to mix in some CG with practical, and it looks good. But then you see like his work on earlier projects, and it's like, Jesus. I mean, he hasn't lost it. He just evidently, with the amount of money being made today.
The sheer volume, I think, of effects, because now you can't just have, like back in the day, you had an exploding head. You got a guy with a helicopter blade take the top of the head off. Now you'll have that helicopter take off 100 zombies approaching the helicopter's head off. And so they can't do that practically. So the only way around it is CG. It's just been, the ante's been upped so that it's instead of being a showpiece of the film, Day of the Dead, the guy leaning over and the guts falling out, that becomes like a throwaway in a Walking Dead episode now because there's so much more carnage through it.
They did the helicopter practical effect for the Twilight Zone movie. Oh God.
Oh
God.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Oh fuck.
So bad.
R.I.P. Vic Morrow, and the two kids. Sorry.
And the two kids. Yeah.
No, it was terrible.
And John Landis' career.
John Landis.
Did you see that the other Landis is in trouble now? His kid?
What happened with the other Landis?
Breaking news, apparently. Yeah, something going on. I don't know, but something going on with young Landis. I don't know.
Landis Calrissian.
I saw.
So back to this. They're just watching The Thing for when we did the Carpenter Apocalypse trilogy. I was happy to revisit this one because I never thought I was going to revisit it. Now I actually think I might throw this into the rotation every now and then. It was much more enjoyable than I remembered it. And I think maybe I just went in not expecting too much, was like kind of pissing on the CG at the time. And again, I'm not just one of those people. It's got to really suck for me to point it out because I love The Mist as well. And I could say the CG sucks in that movie, but I still love the movie. But this one was much more enjoyable. I think it's not the classic that John Carpenter's is, but as a companion film, a follow-up or a prequel, it works.
Yeah, and you see it play out as a prequel, and obviously, it's been a long time since this movie been out. I knew I didn't go ahead and read about this movie a long time ago. I just knew it was a prequel. It just spoilers happen throughout the years. I haven't seen this movie since it came out, 8-9 years ago, and I just knew it was a prequel. So watching it that way, even though I knew how it was going to ultimately end, it was actually kind of cool because you see everything set up. You see all the things happen, like, oh, there's how that happened. There's how that happened. Then even as it plays out towards the end, you're like, wait a minute, where's the frozen wrist slit? And then they do that, and the heads, the heads together. Oh my God! And the characters, the characters they're good characters in this. There's a lot of them, so it kind of get lost a little bit at times. But it's they're solid characters, some good actors in here, and I had a good time with it.
Yeah, good action, good gore scenes when they show it. Just it's paced well. They do what they do. I like how they have. It is fast paced. The intro is fucking fantastic.
Oh, dude,
it's scary too. You know how I am with suffocation and drowning. That scene, I could picture myself being in that situation. And then when those guys go down in that thing, and your life is over. How are you gonna get out of that? Even if you're not stuck anymore, how the hell can you escape that? You're just gonna run out of air.
How did they get
a
out of
terrible
there?
thing. Well, here's the deal. Here's my question. They never mentioned him again. Great opening.
But you see them. You see them.
Oh, are you serious? They got out of it?
That the one who falls down is the one that that is part of the group. What was his name? In fact, the one who was like tracking the signal, listening to the signal, is the one who gets killed on the helicopter.
Well, I got to go back and watch this again.
I'm almost positive that was them because I'm pretty sure they probably have some sort of gear in there that they're able to like climb out.
Oh, dude, I don't know. All I know is it scared me. And
it terrified me, and I love the way the craft lights and all that led into the titles and all that. That was really cool.
Brilliant.
That was really great. Yeah.
And the score, they started off with the right score, the boom boom.
So they end with it. They end with it too.
Yes, they do.
No, they end with it.
Lots of good Easter eggs, like that whole the scene where he comes out of the ice, because you're like, okay, he's in that ice. How is it going to break the way that we see it in the thing? And it does. And then not only that, but the attention to detail of recreating that set. Of where the stairs are to come down to the ice. It was perfect.
It was.
So they did all of that great. And there is a little bit of a been there, done that, because what happens when you're stuck in Antarctica, and it really does replicate a lot of what happens in John Carpenter's The Thing. You get the power downs, like no one can trust one another. They do have female characters in this one, where they don't in John Carpenter's. There's a lot of walking with the lights through like corridors and snow flurried areas. Like there's a lot of shots that emulate what happens in Carpenter's. I think not as a ripoff so much as like an homage.
Exactly. Right. I would have liked a little bit more of the screams.
They did that though. The sounds.
Once,
It did it like 3 times, dude.
I didn't think it was as effective as 82's. And I also thought I just want to come back to this real quick because you just mentioned it. The Morricone score that they obviously use at the end, which just gives you chills when they go into it. Did they use that at the beginning? I thought that was just
away the score right away. It was almost like it wasn't the exact same score. It was something was obviously.
Come on.
No, I know.
Okay, it wasn't more thumbprint.
But it wasn't more. What I'm saying though is it wasn't Morricone's score. It was the new guy's score, and then at the very end, it's actually Morricone's score from '82.
Right, but at the beginning was still doing something.
Oh yeah, we're still doing this. Yes,
something just like.
Exactly, right. But when the actual score kicked in at the end,
yeah, dude.
Oh my god, it's just like you get goosebumps. You're like, fuck, let's watch the thing right now.
They lead you right up to the movie.
Yeah,
and I thought that was fantastic. Like I was giddy.
Yeah, and mixing it in with the one guy who doesn't speak English, it's not really like a throwaway. It just happens to be part of it. They have one guy on the project most of them speak English and Norwegian. This one guy just doesn't speak Norwegian. And then the pilot comes, and it makes perfect sense.
And they introduce those little bombs that he had.
Yep.
Like, throws it at the beginning of the thing. They introduce those earlier on.
Oh, yeah.
And then she actually throws one into the thing. I mean, there's a few of those great little Easter eggs and nods. So
good
there's
kills,
good fan service.
That mouth sucking kill.
Yeah.
The whole scene with Joel Edgerton's character, Carter, with him like in the pantry hiding and that. And then, of course, the twist at the end with the earring. Fantastic stuff.
I got to ask something. It's a little offshoot because it's actually going back to the other John Carpenter's thing for a second. Dave, you've seen It 2, Chapter 2 twice now?
Correct.
I've seen it once. I just have a question to ask. Was that a nod to John Carpenter's thing? With the spider, and he says, obviously. "You gotta be fucking kidding me!"
Of course.
I mean, it's not even a nod; it's a total duplicate scene. But who is gonna get that from the mainstream audience? That's for horror fans.
What are you talking about from It Chapter 2?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet. I'm just
Okay, well, don't even.
Yeah. No, that's fine. That's fine.
Back to the nods and all that other stuff. I like how we get a fake out on the blood test. They talk about doing a blood test, and it's almost like, you're going to do this again? That's a little too on the nose. And then it doesn't happen because shit happens. And I was like, okay, well played. That's just for fans of the original. It's like, okay, we're going to talk about it. We're going to acknowledge the blood test thing, but nope, we're going to pull the rug up from under you. But, I love that, man.
But they still duplicate a test. So, like, I mean, if you're trying to do comparisons there's a logical flow that kind of does duplicate how John Carpenter's plays out. There's more creature in this, so they do pay you off. I guess paid off in that regard. Again, it being CG in a lot of cases, but once again, the design portion of it, fantastic. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but the test, I was about to say the same thing, Dave. I was like, no, and then I'm like, but they are doing a test, but it's different enough that I was okay with it.
I like the test. I like the teeth check. I like the whole, inorganic material and the way it plays out with Carter. Like I said, with the earring, really cool, and him grabbing the wrong ear. Fucking cool.
That is cool. You're
I was
right.
like, oh man, roast this motherfucker.
You know what though? That's something I would do because my memory is shit. Like I don't to this day. I'm not kidding you. I've been in my house a year and a half, and I still don't know what light switch goes to what. Like I'll go to turn a light on in the room and I'll hit the wrong. I'm an idiot that way.
Dude, I do the same
That's
thing.
That's something I would do, I lose my life because of it.
It would have been an even better movie if Carter, after he was torched, just running around screaming, "I was never the thing!"
You got the wrong guy.
I just got boned.
You did get boned. How about that? The surprise with the girl. The first, those two scenes right in a row. The reveal on the chopper when those guys leave and the burst out. That fucking thing is great when they try to take off initially.
Dude, I love how many spins they do over the hill.
Oh, dude, it's great.
They're pirouetting over the hills.
Yeah, totally.
It looked like a video game. It was funny.
And then right after that scene, you get the freaking other reveal with the girl.
Oh, yeah, with Juliet. She brings him in. She starts blaming the other guy. It's Colin.
Not that. No. I did not expect that scene at all when there's a reveal with the girls. When one's taking one to the other room to show him something, and yeah. Oh, you forget it.
Yeah, she brings him in there. She brings Kate in there and starts blaming Colin, one of the other characters, saying you got to look out for him. He was the last one. This, and then it's just like, whoa! It's like whoa, holy shit! And she's like, run! Run! She tells that Norwegian guy, run, and he just stands there, and dies.
Yeah. Good stuff, man.
But you put one foot in front of the other and start moving, man.
Yep.
You gotta put one foot in front of the other foot.
The other foot in front of the other. Put the other foot down.
Wow. Look at that. David's corrected me on the song.
Well, when you talk about Revenge of the Nerds, I'm gonna get a little bit uptight about it. Because no, I'm just fucking around. What do I care?
That's my pie.
Let's see if shit floats. Nobody said anything about shit floating. And I have been looking, and it's still like a half and half.
Shit.
Some do, some don't. I don't care what anybody says, unless I'm the only freak in the world who doesn't have anything. I don't know. Maybe I'm a goner. I don't know.
Let me get 2 Coke floats and a shit float. I want to go to an old-time soda jerk and ask for a shit float.
You got any shit floats?
Well, why don't we wrap this up, right?
Yeah. That's okay. Okay. I'm down with that. Solid film.
I'm glad you guys liked it.
Yeah,
because I'll tell you what, I always have, and I thought you guys weren't gonna like it. Like I had a rating that I gave it last time, and then as I'm watching it, I'm like, well. I almost talked myself down for the wrong reason. I don't even know why. I was like, well, I might come down a little bit. I don't want to come in too high. Maybe I'm way off here. And then talking to you guys, I'm going back to my original rating that I gave it the last time I watched it, and I'm sticking with it. 8 out of 10.
Nice. And I actually came up a little bit because I was at 7.5, but I've actually bumped it up to 7.75.
Nice.
And I'm happy to say I'm at an 8 with you, Dave.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, it was a pleasant surprise. Like I said, I was like, okay, I'll check this out again. Wasn't expecting much from it and thoroughly enjoyed it.
It's another one of the remakes / whatever you want to call it. Readapt, whatever. I'm not even going to try to use the word. But another movie that goes by the same title as an older movie that's beloved, that people shit on without real justification here.
It's like The Evil Dead. It's The Evil Dead, The Thing.
Yeah, right on. Cool. So we did it. Okay. Well... What's next, B?
Next. Okay. Let me pull up the description for the next one.
I got to grab my plug for my computer. I forgot I didn't plug it in. Hold on one sec.
Uh-oh. Plug it in.
Plug it up.
Plug it up. I watched it the other day. Oh, I think I told you.
Did you? I'm saving it because I'm closing in for the 1,000 movie challenge.
Oh boy.
I'm at 969 down, and the plan is to finish up on Halloween. I'm doing a double feature Halloween night with a buddy of mine. The 1,000th film will be Halloween 3, $9.99. We don't know what we're gonna do. We might just do something crazy. We want to kind of watch something maybe a little bit more disturbing, but so it might not necessarily be Halloween themed. But I'm gonna hit all the other. I'll hit original Halloween 1 and 2 and Trick or Treat leading up to it. But I'm also, the point of the whole thing was when you mentioned Carrie is that I still have that as one of my watches. I think I do. I think I do. You know, I saved some, you know, like classics that I could just, you know, finish up with.
And remember when we did the bonus episode, I was looking at my movies and said, I know I watch more movies than this. Here's what happened. There are other classics that I've watched this year. I don't log a movie twice. Like if I watch The Shining 3 times in a year, I'm not going to put every date that I watched it.
Exactly, yeah.
So that's why, because I've watched The Shining, I've watched Carrie, I've watched a couple classics that I've watched also since January. You know what I mean? So that's why I was like, I know I watch more movies than just 13 or whatever the hell I said, and that's why.
Well, dude, that's another crazy part about the challenge is we have to do 1,000 different movies. So I actually have about 30 rewatches. I haven't marked them down, but I have 30 rewatches. Like we're gonna have rewatches coming up. Like we're gonna be doing the VHS trilogy. I've already watched the first 2 this year, but I can't count them part of the challenge. So even though I've watched 969 films, I've actually probably hit 1,000 already.
True.
But it's different films. It has to be completely different. So Halloween night, I will break the record. Well,
awesome. Break it. I can't wait. That's fucking great, man.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna finish out the year strong because hitting 2019 hard, and then next year is gonna be just chill. Like I'm not even joking. I know every year I say I'm gonna relax, and then I do I do like ridiculous shit. I'm gonna watch these 100 movies in 3 days. But no, next year I'm relaxing. I plan on watching TV shows and focusing on other shit.
Right on, man.
Right on.
Good.
All right, we ready for next one?
Let's boogie.
We're gonna go to 2012's The Hunt.
Mike Hunt.
Okay. Mike Hunt. I'm gonna go on record right now before you say anything else. I have a feeling that Brandon and I are going to butt heads just a little bit about something that happens in this film. I have a feeling that Brandon is going to be head over heels for this film, and I am not saying I didn't like it because I in fact did, but there is something in the film that I don't think makes sense. And when we get to that point, I have a feeling that we might butt heads a little bit, but we'll see.
All right, I'll do it real quick, then I'll let you talk. Okay, a teacher lives a lonely life, all the while struggling over his son's custody. His life slowly gets better as he finds love and receives good news from his son, but his new luck is about to be brutally shattered by an innocent little lie. All right, go ahead, Christian. What were you going to say?
Absolutely. First time watch, absolutely love this movie as well. But it frustrated the hell out of me that, again, this guy doesn't say, I didn't do it. He doesn't even seem like he has a fight in him to say that didn't happen. What's going on? Like, I know they allude to, I don't even know what's being said about me. But he, if anything is being directed, if that woman's like, there's been some inappropriateness brought up, and I just need to get to the bottom of this, you'd be like, what the hell's going on? What are you talking about? He is so calm, but almost too calm, that if you were accused of something like this, the magnitude of it, I would have been off the church going like, what the fuck's going on here? Nothing happened. This is a not even a misunderstanding. This is an outright lie. What? And I want to get to the bottom of it. And he doesn't do any of that. And it drives me nuts.
I can see it. Yeah, part of me throughout the film wants to see, oh my God, why am I trying a name on this character? Mads Mikkelsen's character. Hannibal. Yeah, Lucas. I want to see Lucas scream and get crazy and stuff, but I understand that he's trying to be calm and trying to approach this from a professional standpoint. He knows nothing happened, and he's just trying to get to the bottom of it. It's a very close-knit community. It establishes that very quickly with, just the opening scene, that this is a tight-knit group of close friends, family, and just, so he's, okay. I feel like the reason he doesn't get crazy is because I think he might have a sense, especially early on, even though it's horrible, these accusations, is that, okay, this isn't true. This isn't happening. This is all going to blow over. And it just slowly builds and steams over and builds this tension that ultimately rises to, you know, to a point where you don't know where it's going to go. You get a sense of dread throughout as it builds, and you don't know how dark this is going to get. And that's why I really love this film, because I feel like if he was just out there screaming and losing it from the start, I feel like the tone would have been completely different, and it wouldn't have been as effective in certain scenes, particularly, you know, a very big climactic scene in the church, which I thought was super powerful, given that's where he finally is just like, you know,
I can understand that. But everything backfired based on the close-knit community. I guess you're right. You did explain it in your response to me, which is like, oh, this is going to blow over. This is going to blow over. No, it's not, because it eventually ends up getting like he's getting the shit kicked out of him.
Yeah.
And no, it's I didn't know anything about this film. I didn't even realize it was nominated. I guess it was nominated for Best Foreign Film in 2012. But it was, again, hard to say enjoyable, but I enjoyed the film. Like, I enjoyed it from the performance level. I enjoyed how it was presented. It just frustrated me that this little lie, because it seemed like this girl wasn't getting attention from her parents, and the one guy that like is nice to her, you know, responds in a way that she didn't really appreciate. And she creates something. I'm like, holy fuck, this guy's life is going to spiral downward because of this.
Yeah, it's an innocent little thing where, you know, from a kid's perspective, when she's, you know, has her Valentine rejected and she kisses him innocently on the mouth. It was very innocent, and it didn't come across as creepy, even though it's inappropriate. Well, and he immediately says it, and it's really well done without becoming a creepy scene, and he handles everything correctly, and she sees that as like a rejection she doesn't understand. And the whole scene with the brother and the friend showing the pornography and basically saying the words, "Look how it sticks up like a rod." And
whoa. Hold on.
Little kids are impressionable.
Hold on. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. Hold on 1 second. There was a scene prior to the accusation where she saw a penis sticking up.
An erect penis.
The brother runs in with a friend and shows him up the porn mag and goes, "Look, what's her name? Sarah? I don't know. Look, little girl.
Clara.
Look, Clara. It sticks up like a rod."
Blown.
Okay.
My fucking mind is blown. I didn't see that. And one of my big beefs with the film, and everything I was thinking about the film is different now, because I didn't know that happened, because I was trying to say, where would she get this idea from? Obviously, and this is what I'm telling my wife, because my wife came in about 20 minutes in, and I told her this is what's happening in the movie, and she ended up watching the rest of the movie with me. But I told her this, and this. I go, here's what I'm thinking. Her parents were arguing earlier in the film. She needs some affection. Something's going on. But if she's talking about a penis that sticks straight up, that means somebody else is molesting her. It's either going to be her father or someone else. And then later on, the brother is introduced, and I'm like, that's the first time I saw him, when he all of a sudden popped up when the teacher was meeting with the mother to tell them what the little girl said, and then she brought her son with them, and I'm like, okay, so there is a brother. Maybe the brother molested. Bottom line is this: I somehow did not see that scene.
And it's so quick, you can miss it. Like if you zone out for a sec, they're running up the stairs, the brother and the friend, and they literally show the magazine like being, you know, little idiots. Like, hey, look, Howard, look at this dick sticking up like a rod, and it's you know, it's a huge dick sticking up like a rod. And
that changes everything, because I'm thinking somebody else molested her, so she's fucked up. And then when he turns her down with the kiss, because she really needed a friend at that point, because her parents were fighting and these guys are so close. When he rejected her, so to speak, she got mad at him and decided to take it out on him. So that's why she made but I'm thinking someone else must be molesting her. So this changes every fucking thing now for me, because that little scene, I was thinking somebody molested her, and at the end of the movie, they're just going to act like nothing happened.
Great. We're not going to be butt-heading.
Well, we still are.
Butt-heading.
We're still going to butt-head, because there's a few things that still didn't make sense. But that does help me, because now I obviously don't think she was molested. And I wanted answers to, like, you know, 2 or 3 questions. And I didn't get any of them, but that was one of them. So it does help with that knowledge now. Okay.
Yeah.
Damn, I can't believe I missed that scene. I was like, so obviously she saw one. A little girl that age isn't just going to say that for no reason. But
Yeah.
Damn it, how did I miss that?
A big old stiffy, too.
Okay. Well,
Definitely wasn't Christian.
No, definitely not.
It definitely wasn't me.
I'd be the before picture in the back of the magazine.
Would you be eating fish fingers at the same time, though, is my question. Did you hear that she said? I guess where are they? Denmark? Instead of calling them fish sticks, they call them fish fingers. Like, did you hear what she said? That you want some fish fingers? Like fish fingers.
I remember it. It wasn't funny to me until you just brought it up.
How was it not funny? Fish fingers.
I don't know why. Some things aren't funny until other people. Other people find it funny. Like, I find it funny that you find it funny.
Right. Fucking fish fingers.
Yeah, sometimes you did that a few shows ago. I forgot what it was. Oh, you did it with Pin. With Pin. I never found Pin falling on the guy and him yelling at Pin. It's funny until you were doing, "Hey, Pin, get off of me." That's funny now.
It would have been great if you responded too in that voice.
Oh.
Yeah, no. So, Dave, that should change a lot, I think, for you.
It changed something. I still don't understand what happened later because this makes literally no sense.
Are you talking about the last scene of the movie?
Well, that's something else entirely. But just a little that's not something. I don't have a problem with the last scene in the movie. We have different interpretations possibly, but no, there's no problem there. I guess my first problem would be this: there comes a point in the movie where they say that other children are hopping on the bandwagon and saying and describing a sofa and describing the pattern on the wall and everything
describing
else.
The basement.
Okay.
Which they don't even have.
Okay, but none of that makes a lick of fucking sense.
It most certainly does.
No,
Kids have
the
these.
Let me finish.
No, but the parents are putting the thought in. Sorry, Dave, go ahead.
Let me finish. Let me explain why it doesn't make a lick of sense. First and foremost, it was said at the beginning of this, when the accusations first came to play, and it only would have made sense with her because they have a relationship outside of school. So in this instance, it would make a little bit of sense. She says that he touched her, that she saw his penis in the kindergarten class. Okay? Now, the insinuation later when they're talking, when the son is talking to the father's friend, that it happened at the school. Now, if other children are getting involved and they're having a conversation, they are saying that they're taken to his basement and they have this, and this, and they see the pattern in the couch and it all lines up. Okay. Now, what debunks that? What debunks that is this, that he doesn't have a basement at his house. However, this didn't happen at his fucking house. He's a kindergarten teacher. If he's going to molest the children, he's going to do it at the school. There's zero reason for any of those children to ever be at his house. So that is a fucked up part of the film.
Well, to me, it's these counselors, it's the police questioning these children. Have you been with Lucas? Have you seen Lucas outside of class? And collectively, then
kindergarten B.
Kids are very impressionable.
But
no,
it's the parents, because remember, she says, "I said something foolish." She even said the exact same line Clarice says at the end to her dad, or her dad believes her. She says to her mom very early on, and the mom's like, "No, it happened."
I get that. I understand that you're missing my point. My point is I know what you're saying. When she's talking to the little girl, she's like, "Yeah, your mind is blocking it because you don't want to remember. But I want you to know that it happened because for the reason because he should be punished for it." My point is this. Okay, let me level it to you like this, Christian. You've had children go to kindergarten class, correct?
Yeah,
okay.
You'd be like, when did they get to the guy's basement?
Could you think of any instance whatsoever where your kid is in preschool or kindergarten and they, for any reason at all, are going to be at the teacher's house unsupervised without you, let alone one children, let alone fucking other kids that popped up to say shit? Why wouldn't they have checked the school basement? That is a faux pas in the film. They should have said, if they were smart, that the kid said they brought him in the basement of the school. One little line like that and leaving that thing out about going to his house and looking and there is no basement, that makes no sense for the basis of the accusations in this film. None.
I have no issue with it.
I knew you would.
I find it to be a collective hysteria among children, which is a genuinely real thing, where these kids will start to believe a lie and collectively lie together and create things. Whether it's memories that didn't happen or actual physical sick symptoms when they're not even sick.
Right, but why would that matter to cops? Why would they tell cops, oh, I went to his house? The first thing they would say is, hold on a minute. Let me talk to your parents. Hey, did you ever let the kids go to the house? They wouldn't just fucking entertain the idea because the kid said that.
Close-knit community. Close-knit community. So weird. All these kids are kids of friends of his. They're not his best friends. They're not Theo's kid. Theo's kid is Clara, and that's the focus of the story. But to me, I get what you're saying, and it's valid. I really believe that what you're saying is valid. But to me, I buy it off as small, tight-knit community. They're showing the hunt at the beginning, and there's, 24 people on the hunt. And they're all best friends, and I have a feeling like the whole kindergarten is made up of all these people's kids. So I would think that probably 90% of that kindergarten class has been in Lucas's house. He's been in their house, and
alone. In unsupervised, no, maybe not house.
Maybe not alone, but when they were being questioned by counselors or whatever, they collectively built and created this lie. I mean, I didn't think as deep about it as you,
Neither did I.
But I don't see an issue with it, but I see your issue with it. I don't share the issue, but I see it. I do see it.
I see it, Dave, as well, but I believed I didn't feel it being an issue while I was watching the movie, that's for sure. And I bought right into what Brandon was explaining with the mass hysteria.
I get the mass hysteria.
Collective hysteria.
I get that. I understand how children work and how that would happen. And yeah, me too. And fucking the kids. I understand how they are. I'm more so saying the police department. It doesn't make any sense that they would even think at any point, say, oh, so what happened? Oh, he took me in his basement in his house. Wouldn't you, as the police, say, well, wait a minute, when were you in his house and why? And in a situation where he could have even taken you in the basement with several children. It just seems like, and then I don't know. It just seems to me like if they would have done it a little bit differently, instead of doing that little clever thing saying, there is no basement, all for that reveal in that line, which was cool. What's the one problem with this though? There is no basement at your house, he says. There is no basement at the house. Correct. So he's innocent. If they could have just cut that part out and said that these children are saying that, like Freddy Krueger, like there was this in the remake, there's this back room, he has this special room or whatever the fuck at the school, at the boiler room or this or that, then to me that would have been, I don't know. It just would have made more sense to me. I know that I can't think of any situation where I would have let my daughter at any point be alone with any fucking male whatsoever outside of my brother or my father. I don't know. It's just, maybe that's just me as a parent. I just don't see that many parents, alone. I don't want to let this be
it's a tough thing, and it's one of those things that could very easily happen. I almost look at it more like it's tragic because I'm sure it happens all the time. Well, you're gonna be more likely to believe the kid. And look, I feel like it's just a case. I didn't dive too deep into that. I feel like it was a case of the cops and all the authorities trying to establish if there was a pattern of abuse against children on Lucas's part, and just the fact that things had been said. I don't know to what extent. Yeah, they throw the basement thing in there, and that gets debunked. So they see that there's not a pattern, and that they're dealing with an isolated incident. And it's even more tragic because Clara's like, Clara doesn't realize the extent of what she's done. Like she's showing up at his house after the fact. She keeps talking about wanting to walk Fanny, the dog, and it's tragic, and she doesn't see the effect that it's having. And Lucas is so stoic and reserved, and it's not until Marcus shows up, and when Marcus goes to talk to Theo and he spits on Clara, man, part of me is like cheering, like, good for you, Marcus, but at the same time he's spitting on a little girl who didn't mean it, but it's like, good for you, here's the reaction that he wants to see from his father. And he's not getting it from him.
This was Dave. It goes back to what I was saying earlier, just about like say something, like going, this is fucking preposterous. Like, but he never loses his cool, which you got to respect in the sense of he doesn't even get mad at Clara. He might be angry with her. He's more upset with his friend for not believing him, and then eventually realizing that his friend does believe him. And we'll get to that, I guess, as well. But even at the end, he's not mad at Clara. And just like Bjork is not going to say the secret about the cop or whatever. But the anger in me would be like, fucking step up, buddy. Saying like, I don't have a basement. What the fuck? This is crazy. When was it with these kids? I go to work. I'm by myself. I'm with my friend. We go drinking. Like, what the hell? Say something. That's
and that's the thing. He never brought up he could have very easily brought up the incident and been like, okay, here's what happened. Clara gave me a Valentine. I told her it was inappropriate, that she should give it to one of her classmates. She kissed me on the mouth. I told her that was inappropriate behavior. She got mad at me. That's it.
I don't know where this other stuff is coming from. Maybe it triggered. I go, but that's just what happened. But I don't know what the hell she's talking about with all this other stuff. That's me. I know that's not everybody, but you're just like pulling your hair out going, just say something.
Yeah.
Please.
He does say something, though. I will say this.
When?
Remember, he goes to school and he confronts the teacher because he's pissed off because now she cost him because she called his ex-wife. Yeah. And now he was ruining the chances of his son coming to live with them. So he does get balls one time when it comes to that. He goes right there and says, I want to talk to you.
Oh, he gets balls a couple times because when he goes back into the grocery store, I fucking cheered.
When he lays that headbutt down, I'm like, fucking
beautiful.
Yeah, dude, that was like Hannibal type shit right there.
Yeah, that was. Then he gets his groceries. He should have eaten that fucking guy.
Nice. Yeah, it was good. There was not this whole movie I'm waiting to see, and I'm enjoying the movie. Everything about the movie I like. Again, I was confused because of what's going to happen. Is he going to get off? Who is the one molesting her? What's going on? What are these answers? I'm waiting to get these answers. And then all of a sudden, just because one day on Christmas Day, the guy just says, you know what? Well, he noticed it the night before in the church. He says to his wife, I could see it in his face. And I understand what he's saying. He goes, he's not guilty. But then all of a sudden, the entire fucking town thinks this guy is guilty to the point that they don't even want him shopping at their restaurants. They fucking do what they do with the dog, which I called that. As soon as the kid said to the father, as soon as he said, where's the dog? Oh, something I told my wife. I go, oh, that's that. I knew it right away. I called it as soon as it happened. And then sure enough,
that scene, holy shit! They must have put the dog like not to sleep, but just
dude.
With
I was saying that to my dad, and I've seen this before. I'm like, they really killed Fanny for this movie. Look how good an actor she is.
Yeah.
It's for the operation stuff.
It's like when they put him to sleep and the tongue is hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
It was fucking nuts. That's no prop.
No, and that was.
But I get it. As frustrating
CG dog.
I get it just because of that opening, establishing that relationship among this community. It's like he can't scream at the top of his lungs he's innocent. He can't believe that these people are even questioning it to begin with.
But then it gets to that level, and he doesn't.
I know.
Other than just with the teacher, other than the part that Dave brought up, there wasn't enough. Like, what the fuck, buddy? Come on! Like, not even when he's like getting the chops from the grocery store. He's not going to say, "Just serve me my fucking chops." I didn't do anything. Can't believe there's nothing said. Just give me my fucking chops.
That should be the tagline. The Hunt. Serve me my fucking chops.
Not mutton.
But here's my problem. I was getting to this. Thanks for mutton.
The Hunt too. Thanks for mutton.
Oh, that's great. That's great. But I was getting to this problem I have.
Sorry.
All of a sudden, Christmas Eve, what happens. The guy has a revelation before, and that's why he knows he can approach him and do what he does in the church. I get that. But then all of a sudden, he wakes up the next day. It's Christmas Day. Well, I've decided I believe I'm going to take some food over to his house, and everybody's just going to all of a sudden drop the fucking charges and forget about everything. And now he's innocent. And just like that, let me tell you something. When somebody is fucking accused of anything like that, a rape or a fucking molestation or anything, just because somebody decides they change their mind and they believe it, and a year later, I find all that a little bit hard to believe that fucking everybody in town's like, oh, the father says he didn't do it? You're right.
Not only the father, the daughter said she didn't do it, and you got to think from December to October, a 10-month period of time. The police are involved again. All this is cleared up, and even though it's a short period of time, that scene at the very end is very much what you're talking about. It's establishing that this is not fixed. This can never be undone.
There's the looks he gets from the brother and that other guy when they're in there, and the mom's not there. So his best friend's there, but his wife wasn't there because the wife, I don't think, forgives him. In her mind, it happened no matter what the daughter said. So the daughter said it didn't happen. The father believes him. The police investigation happened. People dropped the cases, but when they're having that celebration of the son getting his hunter's license, that's what it was, right?
Yeah.
Clara's mom's not there. At least I don't believe she is. And I take that as there was a falling out between her and her husband because he took the side of the friend and said that he believed that nothing happened. But in the mom's eye, I think that's how I took it. Now, if you can tell me she's in that scene, but she was not having any of it. So I actually believe that she didn't forgive him at all. And
were there any females there, though? It's a hunting thing. Were there any females?
Clara was there.
Clara was
there. I know the baby was there. Fine.
No,
but
that's I don't
the
remember.
wives.
There was some other women because I thought, is that the wife? For a second, I'm like, no, it's not.
Okay.
But there was another woman laughing or telling a story. And then look, was it in his head? But I don't believe it is. I think those side looks are supposed to be like, I don't believe you. We're never going to believe you. And then, of course, the shot out, quite literally, is we've got your number. You no matter, almost like the Sopranos end. No matter what you do, you're always going to be like watched. You're always going to be.
I like that. I like the ending open for interpretation. I like that if it literally happened, it means there's still doubt amongst the group.
Right.
And if it didn't happen, it's more metaphorical in the sense that Lucas himself cannot forget that the things that happened to him happened.
Right. I'm with you.
Yeah. So either way, I'm fine with it. I'm fine for it being open to both interpretations. And yeah, maybe now I don't remember the scene. I do wish you'd seen the wife though, because it does give a sense that the whole community had forgiven. I mean, there's nothing to. But you're right. I didn't see her.
So do you think that just because the guy forgave him and decided he had a change of heart and he's going to go over and take him some food and some wine to his house, that all of a sudden he's going to have his job back and the charges are just going to be dropped and everything just goes back to normal, so to speak, except for the doubts that people have in the back of their head?
I don't know.
Do you think it's that easy?
It's 10 months later. We're not told. We're told time's gone by. We don't know the extent of it. He seems to be with his son, and his son got his hunting license. That's where we're at, and he seems to have reconciled with a few people, at least. But you can see even people there he hasn't reconciled with, or there's doubt.
Yeah, it's an ideal image mirroring the beginning. But even though it looks the same, it will never be the same, and it can never be fixed because there will always be that doubt. And it reminds me of the movie Doubt, which I'll compare this to if you haven't seen. Also a terrific film with Philip Seymour Hoffman, not horror, but deals very similarly like this, and it's phenomenal.
We'll talk about it on this show.
Not horror, but it's and that's the thing. It's like the power of lies and rumors and gossip, and it's very poetic and visually stunning the way it sort of mirrors the opening, but it's changed. It will never be the same. I don't think it will, Dave, because whether that doubt is in an actual shooter, giving him a warning shot saying we're always going to be watching you, or that shot is just metaphorically in his head saying, you know what, I can't forgive these people. They're not the same people, given what they did and how they reacted to something that I never did, or. I mean, you
saw the guy running away, right, B, after the shot?
Yeah, you see that, and you're never able to make it out. I'm looking, I'm pausing, I'm like, who is it? Like, who is
it?
It was like Mrs. Voorhees being right before she kills Ned.
When the thing?
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought when I watched the movie. This is exactly like Mrs. Voorhees.
Maybe it was Mrs. Voorhees.
Nice.
What are you doing? Not that scene, but I thought it was his son. Honestly, I know that you're not supposed to know, but that's the first visual that I got.
It looked like a tall, skinny kid, reminiscent of the son.
Really? I just figured
it looks like that, but it's so hard to tell. But Mrs. Voorhees, it could be because she could come out at the end in a bonus scene and say, "Lucas and Clara were making love."
Well, my young boy drowned.
Awesome. Oh, woo. Shit. Okay. The killing of the deer. Did that really happen? Sure as fuck looked like they killed that deer.
Oh.
Or did they put that deer to sleep like the dog?
I don't know. That looked like it might have been a cannibal Holocaust moment. But they ate it for craft services. Venice
The
is
animal
on the menu
jokes
tonight.
look very real in this.
Yeah.
All the
Well,
animals.
maybe it's Denmark. Maybe they shoot a deer. You know, I don't know.
You know, I can't place all these other actors, but I've seen these other actors. I guess I've seen a bunch of Danish films. But this was a good cast. I recognized some of these people, and I was like, this was solid. And Mads Mikkelsen, like, he's one of those actors who's just good in everything. Like, he could be in a bad movie, and he's still a standout in it.
Yep. And there's something else about this movie that ties in with the last movie. You know what it is? He just broke his glasses.
Yeah.
Did you see what I wrote? I wrote
Yes.
it down on this movie.
I wrote it in my notes too, and it's awesome because I'm actually not looking at them right now because it just the flow of the conversations brought up pretty much everything, which is great. Like, I wonder, does that carry through to our last film? I don't think so.
No.
The last film breaks your fucking soul.
This is true.
Yeah,
but it's that.
Was that the guy's house, the Godfather? That Brune guy? Was that his house?
It was a weird house because
that was stunning. It was like a castle.
Well, but like then wasn't the kitchen in the basement? So it's like
I
a
don't
main
know,
level. The main level,
was so
like rooms
cool,
upstairs,
though.
a big main level, and then the kitchen in the basement with like stuffed in the corner.
I still liked it though. It looked awesome.
Oh, it was great.
Like,
It was cool.
I was like, I want to live there.
It was cool how he had the two different sets of friends in the beginning. They were the one set of friends that eventually turned on him.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, okay, did they do that to his fucking dog? Because how can he forgive that? That's what I'm saying. That shit with the dog, that's almost as bad as fucking molesting a kid. What the fuck does a dog have to do with anything?
Yeah,
Why would you do that?
It's there. I mean,
Who would do that?
He's, Clara is portrayed as the victim, and but in the end, it's like Lucas is the real victim here, and it's like,
Oh, fuck Clara. Fuck her. Seriously.
Huh?
No, you know what I mean? That's my wife
you're-
was livid. We're watching the movie. She's like, this girl is gonna ruin this guy's life just for no reason.
yeah.
You know,
And
I'm like,
even when it looks like it's put back together, it's fractured. It's
Right.
never gonna be the same. And his stoic looks throughout. That looking back in the church scene though, before he said before he approaches him and says, "You have to forgive me." That's like, I don't know. That's just to me like an award-worthy scene. I don't know. It's a very powerful look, and just that when he starts punching him, and I was just like. He's defeated. He's like, you have to believe me, or like I'm finished.
yeah,
No,
man.
he's Danish.
Oh shit!
Boom.
Boom.
Oh.
Marco V.
I think we should end it on that note. Unless there's something else. It's recommended, and I will tell you this: another movie that you can watch. I had to sign up for Magnolia for the 7-day trial that you can get on Amazon. So another movie that anyone listening, unless you got the Magnolia thing, which I never heard of until I friggin' had to watch this movie.
Dude, Amazon has so many weird channels.
I know, right?
I've signed up for some where they have like literally 3 movies on there. Like, how is this a channel?
We should do our own. The Exploding Head.
Yeah. With Christian's Elf on the Shelf videos on there.
$9.99 a month.
Oh, we should do it just to get our name out there. I wonder if we could put videos up there.
Dude, some of them are like $2.99 a month, these channels.
Oh,
You thought Shudder was cheap. I signed up for some for the 7-day trial, and it's like, after your 7-day trial, you'll be charged $2.99. You can go 20 years and not realize you've been paying for this one channel.
That's it. And everybody's complaining about $1 a month. That's a new
Right?
Patreon perk. Your
cheap
$1 is not
bastard.
going to be $2.99. Amazon channel.
nice. Yeah, we're better than some Amazon channel. Come on. Awesome. So yeah, you can watch this movie on Magnolia. Go sign up if you got the Amazon app, or just go on your computer. It's free. Another movie what we recommend. Again, I did poke some holes and say some things, but I enjoyed the movie. That's why I got angry, because I really wanted to know what was going on here and how it was going to end up and everything else. And when I didn't necessarily think I got the answers I wanted, it was a little bit frustrating. But as a whole, I still enjoyed the movie. And for me, it's an 8 out of 10.
Oh, okay. Well, that's cool that you say that. I'm exactly there too. Dave, I don't know what it is. We've aligned 8 out of 10.
Nice.
Great movie.
Yeah, I'm a little higher just because, I'm very much a character-driven person, and I just really love the characters in this, even the ones you hate. It's very strong in performances throughout. There's really no weak links here. So I'm a lot higher. I'm actually at a 9.5 also.
I knew it. I knew you loved this movie.
Yeah,
that's why I thought we were gonna butt heads. Nice.
Yeah.
9.5. All right, man. Shit.
Yeah. Not an easy watch. Not a 9.5. I want to watch it again anytime soon. But
it's a nice stiff straight 9.5.
Yeah, it's a pretty. Yeah. While these guys are having a soft last at 8.
What are you doing? Off wheat design, man.
I don't know what I'm
doing. Lars von Trier over here is.
I meant that was supposed to be a stiff rod, but it came out Nazi
stiff rod, huh?
What the hell's going on?
Okay. All right.
Dave, hit us up with some fun break stuff before.
Okay, yeah, fun breaks. What do I have? What do I have here? A couple things. Well, I gotta rewind for that. I talked about the cat. Okay. What about, we may as well get into Halloween.
I talked about the cat.
I already talked about it. It's in my notes. Things to bring up. What about, this is the only Halloween related talk we're going to have all month. But.
He's gay.
Yeah. Did you guys notice that I asked, what's his name? Doherty, about the pronunciation of
Sal.
Of Sa. Yeah, well, he didn't respond, so I'm going to take that as victory for Daddy. There you go.
Victory? You're going to take that as a victory.
You know why? Because he knows what's up. It's much more marketable to say Sam. So if he responds to me and says, yes, sir, you're right. That is what it is. But I understand why he would go with it, because Sam is marketable. So he doesn't want to change it and freaking expose that. So by him not saying anything, that's just like, he knows what's up. You know what I mean? If he really felt the other way, he would have said, because this is the guy that talks. Because he talked to, I think, Derek. Every time he talked, he's messaged him on, not messaged, but anytime he did anything on Twitter, he tweeted at him, he responded. So he's the kind of guy that is interactive. So he saw my thing and decided it was in his best interest just not to say anything. So.
Well, I heard for the sequel that Tears for Fears might be doing some of the soundtrack. Sowing the Seeds of Love might be one of the songs on there.
Saw makes sense. Saw makes sense. I'm sorry. It is what it is. It's short for Saw. I can't get into this whole thing. But didn't respond, so I'm gonna claim victory on that one.
I wonder if he didn't respond because he just right. It's just like he just had to collect himself. When you see something that's so ridiculous, and you're like, oh, I gotta catch my breath. I can't respond.
Yeah.
Maybe he contacted Derek. He's like, Derek, I can't react to this guy.
Are these guys really gonna put out an Amazon channel?
Oh man.
Sound Network.
Sow 7. Jigsaw was awesome in Sow.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
That's it for fun stuff.
We got the vote, and it came back. The Nancy trilogy actually came back and beat out the Laurie trilogy on the Facebook page and on Twitter, because I put it on both. And I was really surprised. We got a couple hundred votes on the Facebook page, and people actually picked it. I knew it would be close.
I couldn't vote on it. I don't even know if it's tough, that. I feel like it's people being angry at the fact that there's just so many timelines in it that they were like, what? At least Nancy has, one timeline and that's it. So it's just easier to be like, all right, you know what? At least, they didn't try to do 50 different timelines with her. But
true. But it's cool. Dude, I was watching Nightmare on Elm Street, a couple weeks ago, because it's one that I couldn't claim again on the, what do you call it? Because I watched it again this year.
Yeah.
So, but I'm watching it, and it got me to thinking about part 2 and part 3, and I was like, wow. I go, this is very similar to her. Her doing 1, 3, and New Nightmare is very similar to Laurie doing 1, 2, and H2O. It's kind of like H2O and New Nightmare are kind of like alike in a way. They came out years later, a different type of presentation. You know what I mean? It just got me thinking because, well, no, not in Nightmare on Elm Street. It wasn't.
I
Nightmare came out water years later.
N2O. Wow, it could have been nitrous oxide. Oh, that would have been awesome.
N2O.
Yeah, it should have been N2O. Oh, damn. When did it come out?
And Devo could have done Whip It.
That was the gas that they burned me with.
Awesome. Whew, shit. Somebody brought up something really cool. They said that at the end of 3, it actually works. Because at the end of 3, and I know she says this for a fact, and you guys do too, but she's like, I'm going to dream you into a beautiful dream. Remember when Nancy's dying and Kristen says that to her?
Yeah.
Well, how about that? The beautiful dream is the other reality of freaking New Nightmare. I think that's poetic, man.
Wow, that's really cool. I
right.
I never thought of that, but I like that.
Yeah, because somebody said, well, in actuality, it's not, the Nancy trilogy doesn't really exist because she's not Nancy in New Nightmare. She's back to being Heather. You know what I mean? It's a real person. But then someone came in and said, well, I take it as this. I'm going to dream you into a beautiful dream. So that exists in the same timeline. And it's
that's cool, actually. I like that.
Yeah, it is cool. So anyway, I knew it would be close because I couldn't decide. I mean, ultimately, I would decide. I would take Laurie just because Halloween's my favorite horror movie. Nightmare on Elm Street's probably right, like number 10 now. It just keeps getting higher and higher for me. So to take it away, you know what I mean? Halloween 2, I love it. Not as much as I love Nightmare 3. And then the other 2 are interchangeable. So it's kind of like, you know, I think Halloween just gets the edge because of Halloween 78. But I think it's a good I thought it was a good question, and it was pretty divisive. Nancy ended up winning though. So
good.
Yeah.
That was I like both. So
I did. I really didn't cast a vote. I looked at them. I'm like, I really can't decide.
I did vote for Nancy, but only because I'm not a fan of H2O.
Yeah.
It's not. It's okay, but I like New Nightmare more.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, certainly. Yeah. No, they're about even for me, I guess. New Nightmare in H2O. I don't know. It's hard to explain. I kind of go back and forth with it. There was one funny thing I wanted to play you guys, but I didn't. I'm not set up right. It was something from Duncan's podcast. He does this really cool thing at the beginning, and like I said, it was a 90s roundtable, and he plays all these little scenes from different movies of the 90s. Like it opens up, and it's the girl saying, have you ever heard about Candyman? You know, and they do all these little parts. He puts all these little parts in. And there's this one part, and they say something, and I want to play it for you guys. Granted, I listen to my podcast at 1.5 speed. Damn it. I listen to it at 1.5 speed, so it might sound different. But I wanted to show it to you guys because I have a good feeling that you guys would think that it was saying the same thing that I heard. It can't be what that is, but because it wouldn't make any sense.
Was it, have you ever heard of Candyman, bitch?
No, I gotta cue it up.
Is that in there?
I gotta
it's Tony Todd yelling, "I'm Norma Bates,"
even though it's not from the 90s.
I'll cue it up for later. It's kind of amazing you should say that, actually, because I'll cue it up later. We'll do it right before the very end of the show because I want you guys to hear that. You know what I mean? But I can't do it now because I can't find it, and I don't want to hold up the show. I'm trying to speed things up, not slow them down. So.
Well, why don't we get to the last depressing movie?
Oh, yeah. Oh, God.
Yes, let's do
it. Okay. The last film is 2008 documentary, Dear Zachary, A Letter to a Son About His Father, written and directed by Kurt Keeney. And it's a filmmaker deciding to memorialize a murdered friend when his friend's ex-girlfriend announces she's expecting his son. And basically, that's what the title tells you. A letter to a son about his father. Kurt is making this film for Zachary, who is Andrew's son, who is being born to the woman who murdered Andrew.
And as I mentioned to you guys on text, this was a huge case in Canada. So I knew, I was like, this sounds familiar. And I stupidly Googled it, even though you said don't read up anything on the thing. And I Googled it going, yeah, this is the case. And I knew exactly where it was going and how it ended because we lived it based on the fact that this happened and was pretty big national news in the 2000s. So it didn't take away from the movie. I think this movie's good. I don't think this movie's great. I think the movie's good. I respect the friend. I would have done the same thing, being in film and wanting to just get the story out there and do it my way. But I'm not saying his documentary is the best.
Okay, what was your problem with it?
Yeah,
I just didn't like the way he did the documentary. I thought it would. I thought it could have been done better. I didn't like even though I would have been angry, I didn't like his insertion of the rage moments and everything else. I just thought it could have been handled better. I love how it starts as one thing, evolves into something else, and then eventually, after everything's done, after the second sucker punch to the stomach, you feel like you get a little bit. There's been movement with the grandparents and their sort of initiative and their crusade, if you will, especially the grandfather, and how they've changed law in Canada, and I don't know if it's affected the States, but definitely opened the eyes of this situation for sure. Wow.
I never thought that Canadian government was that fucked up. I mean, I know about the United States government. I had no idea that shit could have possibly gone down, that she could write a letter to the judge and just be let out. Holy shit.
All I ask of you is that you behave yourself. Yeah. All I ask is that you behave yourself. And all these clips being played over and over and the rage moments I thought were absolutely necessary and effective to drive home the finding that is ultimately found when the investigation is done at the end, is that this was all preventable.
Yeah.
Or at least
one of them.
At least our turn here, and it's absolutely tragic and frustrating. And I this happens to be a Canadian case, and it's frustrating to deal with these people. And I wanted to, I felt like every time they brought up this psychiatrist or this Judge Gale or these prosecutors or defense attorneys, and I felt like, I would kill these people if I ever met them. They deserve to be shot. But it's not even just a statement on the Canadian, justice system. It's just a statement on the justice system, period. There's flaws in every justice system, and unfortunately we see it all the time. And I just thought this was just an overwhelmingly emotional journey and love story for his friend, for his friend's son, for these parents for Kate and David, who ultimately become, and they're there throughout the whole thing, and it just sort of it sheds light at the end of how amazing these people are, because you're really thinking about yourself and how you feel and what happened to these kids, and you're seeing them and everything they're doing and the things they had to go through, and it's just, oh man, I mean, these people are in
the reality. This is reality, and the turns in the story are horrific and just so brutal. And again, the way he presented the documentary, I don't want to shit on this guy's thing, because again, he was a friend. Like, they created movies like I did with my buddies when we were young, here. And you know what I mean. Yeah. And so for all that stuff, I totally see where he's coming from. I would have done things a bit differently, but again, I'm not him. So
is it more because, as they say, as a documentary filmmaker, you're supposed to be impartial and tell a documentary from an impartial standpoint? Because I mean, he's obviously, that's all out the window here. This is the movie he's going to make for Zachary, and ultimately turns into for Kate and David and for us in the end. And I feel like he made exactly what needs to be seen, exactly what I wanted to see. It's a testament to the pure evil in the world and a testament to the angels in the world. Jeez, I'm getting emotional just talking about it.
No, you're right. I can't argue any of that, to be honest.
No, but I'm asking because, I could see as somebody who's you're a filmmaker, and somebody's that, is it because it sort of breaks the rules of of documentarian filmmaking?
Well, no, because I like Michael Moore films, and I'd say that he breaks the rules left, right, and center as well.
Yeah.
Maybe I needed it. Maybe it was the version I watched. I don't know. Because I watched it on Amazon. It was on Amazon.
Yeah.
Yes, you can watch this for free on Prime, everybody. Yeah, watch it.
It was on Amazon. Maybe I and again, it's edited okay, more or less. I just felt it needed a little bit more polish. Maybe I'm being too hard on it. Yeah.
I don't know. I see, the thing is, I have, and my wife and my daughter watch these things all the time, these documentaries about, someone that got killed in the investigation and this and that. And we were talking earlier on this year about Abducted in Plain Sight and another one that was similar to it. And I've watched all those, and they were all pretty good and pretty serious stuff. But I'm like, I told my wife, I watched this by myself, and my daughter popped in and out. She didn't really know what was going on though. So, but my wife didn't see anything of it at all. And I told her the next day, I said, man, that movie I watched last night, I was like, I want to tell you to watch it because it was so good. I go, it was better than any of those documentaries or any of those shows we watched about bad shit that goes down and a crazy person and murder and things that happen. But it's just ultimately it ends up being so depressing that I don't know if I can recommend it to you to watch it. But I want to say watch it. It's just one of those things.
And maybe,
I thought
guys, maybe
good.
it's because I knew the story. Once I realized that this was in fact what I remember seeing on the news constantly and being enraged back in the 2000s. Maybe that's why I'm not there. I was more interested in the crusade of the grandparents later. And that's what I was interested in because everything else I kind of knew.
And some of these clips played throughout, yeah. I mean, what they went on to do is amazing. The fact that they had the strength to go on, given everything they go to. But some of these clips they played, the phone conversations and the pictures with this Shirley, and the things they had to do for her and say to her and listen to her say, all for the sake of just being able to see their grandson, knowing well and good that she killed their son. She shot him 5 times. And then bashed his head in. Shot him 5 times. They talk about that. Like they shot him twice in the butt, shot him once in the face, once in the back of the head, once in the chest. Yeah, they show his dead body. And, brutal, heartbreaking, evil stuff. And just, oh my God. And the things she's saying and listening to this woman talk, she's an extremely sick, evil individual.
No, you're right, and I'm wrong. I guess
You're not wrong.
But I wanted because I'm trying to put myself because if I was the filmmaker now listening to me, I'd be enraged, and I don't want that because what he did was noble, and I love what he did since the story broke to bring light to again his buddy, his friends. And the family, the grandparents in particular, and the crusade. So I don't want to take away from that. So I feel like maybe I am saying this incorrectly. I guess I wanted polish, but then when you say all these other shows that are out there, I don't want that either. So I guess I'm not articulated or maybe I don't know what I want, but I don't want that forced TLC bullshit. And this one just felt maybe amateurish.
It's so personal that I think the filmmaking technique doesn't even matter in this one, whereas those are more about presenting it in a stylized procedural way when you're watching like these Netflix ones, because I watch those too and they're depressing, but nothing takes you. For me, nothing has taken me on an emotional gauntlet. Some have, but nothing to this extent. And it also has to do with the characters. I mean, with the people we're dealing with here. I mean, this guy, this Andrew Bagby, is presented. I mean, he's a genuinely good guy. Everything you see about him and hear about him, and the testaments in all his friends and family, the things they say about him. It's like I want to be a part of these people's lives. These are good people. This is like a loving family and friend and group of friends, and everybody has kind words, and it's so loving, and it makes it even more tragic. And he was doing such great things with his life, became a doctor, and was,
everything Brandon is saying, folks, is on the ball, on the mark. It's absolutely true. I can't argue anything against it. So I don't know what I'm saying because I in a sense, everything's presented, and if you don't know anything about the story, this is the way to see it. Then, so from that regard, yeah, it's a great documentation of that and the friendship and the lives he touched, and I can't argue against that. So I might be talking myself up because now I don't even know where I was going. Like I was saying I liked the movie, I didn't love it, but hearing you talk about it is making me remember.
It's so hard. It's so hard because I always tell people like this is like one of the most disturbing films I've ever seen, but also in the final 3 minutes into the film, it becomes one of the most uplifting, powerful movies, and it's all a testament when he shifts the focus of the film, and that music kicks in, and all these testimonies of friends and families, and some of the things being said, and it's just it gives me goosebumps, and it literally brings tears to my eyes, and it's not an easy watch, but I feel like everybody needs to see this at some point. Like, I know, like, I don't want people to be sad and be angry and be frustrated, but I mean, there's also hope in this film, and and it's a testament to all these characters, even though our a huge focus of this whole story is one of the truly most vile individuals you'll ever hear, see, read about.
And it wasn't so much Canadian law. I think it was some unfortunate, just some shitty people, not thoroughly doing their jobs within the Canadian law system. But this definitely caused a change. Again,
it happens all the times here too, with after the fact, after something terrible has to happen.
It does have that ending, but the thing is, I was still. Here's the fucked up part. For me, I called what was going to happen. This reminds me of things that have happened in my life and my parents and my daughter in many different ways because of things that I've experienced, not just with the mother of my daughter, but other women that I've been involved with. I have seen this type of behavior. Of course, I wasn't murdered and nobody I know was murdered, but I've seen the way they talk and the way they act and how they're so self-centered and what it results in. Now I've seen the behaviors here, and I've seen the behaviors from my parents, which my parents are divorced, have been for years. I don't think they're the greatest people in the world, the way like these people, the parents of this, they're talked about at the end of the movie. They're just people like us. But I mean, I know for a fact that the shit that they had to put up with to be able to spend time with my daughter when having to deal with her mother and the things that she did to me. She did all kinds of fucked up shit to me. Tried to get me in all kinds of trouble. And I didn't murder me, of course not. But they still had to be in the room and they still had to carry on and do all this stuff at different times. And I've seen them time and time again do things just to spend some time with their granddaughter. I do believe that if that happened to me, that my parents would do the exact same thing to see my daughter, to suck. I could relate to them having to go through that. I felt so bad for not just the phone calls and pretending that they like her, because I witnessed that too, and trying to keep everything on a peaceful level. I've seen this shit play out before my very eyes. I've done it myself, pretending you don't detest somebody for the greater good of a child and to be with that child. And I've seen all this happen. I really do believe, like, the phone calls are one thing, but having to be in the presence of them, swimming at the pool and everything else and going to parties and when they were actually hanging out together and the way this woman manipulated all of them, I believe that my parents would do the same thing. Yeah. And I've seen manipulation from mothers of children before and what they do and how they use them as tools to hurt and to, just to manipulate whatever situation for themselves. I've seen this firsthand. So all of that stuff, yes, it's impressive, but I'm pretty sure that my parents would do the same thing.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think the movie does a good job of showing what wonderful people these are and the strength of these people, but also showing that these are the people in his life, the everyday people, the parents, the friends, the family members in his life, and we all have that, and that's what we need to hang on to, in this world, because there is evil out there. And I think we all have, these types of wonderful people in our lives, and so that's it's where great. I find the hope in the film is that we all have, people like this, whether it's our parents, our friends. Yeah. So I agree with you there.
I was still reeling. That didn't affect me. It didn't make me uplifted because I was still reeling from what I had learned. And here's the fucked up part: I called it before it happened, and I remember messaging you guys. Yeah. Because the reputation this film has, I'm watching this movie, I go, yeah, this is bad, but I see lots of bad things. Something else is going to happen here. And then it became very clear to me when they went to that party at the McDonald's for the birthday party, and as soon as they said that this child was paying more attention to the grandmother than her own mother, I immediately started thinking about all the crazy people I've dealt with in my life and what they might do. And I'm thinking, okay, that's going to fucking put this person over the edge because they're going to be jealous because I see this stuff to this day. I see it and not as extreme of fashion, but there's always a competition for the affection of a child. And I see it still. But I'm saying as soon as that happened, I thought to myself, okay, what can this person do to really hurt that other person? And because they feel fucked up themselves, because I knew at that McDonald's party where it was going to go. And that is when my mind started going. And then I started thinking, okay, this is what's going to happen. And that's when I messaged you guys. I'm like, well, this is going to have to happen to give it the reputation this movie has. I think I know where it's going. So when it happened, I wasn't surprised yet. It still impacted. It still hurt me. And when I saw my daughter after the movie, I said, come here a second. And I gave her a hug. And she said, are you okay? I said, yeah. And I said, I'm just glad you're with me. And that's all I told her because it did move me that way. Because who knows what could have happened with my daughter had things not gone the way the things I was fighting for. And ultimately, things ended up in the right place. But who knows? Things happen, and I don't know. I can't get too deep into nobody cares to hear anyway about my personal life, but I'm just saying that I attributed it to myself. So maybe selfishly, I let this movie take me in all kinds of ways, and I compared it to people I've known and situations I've been in. But the bottom line is it still hit me hard. Even though I figured out where it was going to go, by the time it got to the end of the movie, it still hit me hard because of everything. And because of the reason for it, not just the McDonald's party and the way she felt, but another guy that she started talking to, and she was trying to pay him back. He doesn't know fucking them from anybody. You know what I mean? He doesn't. What did he care about this little child and this woman, some girl that he probably been freaking boning for a few months?
Yeah, and it sounds so crazy, but it's not even like sensationalized. I mean, when you say about the child wanting the grandmother more, they show the clips, they show the videos, and it's there, and the manipulation is there in everything she says, and it's you see it, you can see it coming, and it's I could see, like you said, you were still breathing. Of course, you're gonna feel that way at the end, because this is a personal thing, where he's making it for this particular group of people in his life. But I think the ultimate success in it is that everyone can kind of draw strength from it.
Nice. There you go. Okay, I'm gonna play this now. I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna break up the depressing thought and okay, tell me what you guys hear.
You cannot push spirits around! You are stuck! You think a bunch of frighteners on people! That makes me physically ill! That's what you do to get up there. Oh, yeah!
When you were stabbing that vampire in there, yeah?
Oh, yeah!
I can make this last forever. I see dead people.
Oh, look at me! Look at me! I'm Leatherface!
I'm to get you, Barbara.
Oh, look at me! Look at me! I'm Leatherface!
I've been dead a long time.
No? You didn't hear it, huh?
Was that, look at me, I'm Leatherface!
Oh, that's what it's saying? I thought it said on Norma Bates. It was been driving me nuts.
Oh, I thought
look at me, I'm Norma Bates.
Oh, it sounds like that. I thought he said Leatherface though. Look at me, I'm Leatherface.
Maybe that's what it is.
What is that?
Psycho 98?
It's from something in the 90s.
I have no idea.
Something in the 90s. Hold on, let me play it once more. Okay, hold on.
It is look at me, I'm Norma Bates.
Is it Norma Bates?
Listen.
It's that guy! Oh, yeah! I'll be right back!
No, wait.
Oh, yeah! I see dead people. Oh, look at me! I'm Leatherface!
I'm to get you, Barbara.
Oh, look at me! I'm Leatherface!
I heard Leatherface this time.
I heard Norma Bates. I heard Leatherface.
Okay. Either way, and maybe it is Leatherface then. So it's from a movie in the 90s. But every time I listen to that show and I hear that, I always think of look at me, I'm Norma Bates. I'm like, what the fuck?
It sounds like Christian at like 2.5 speed.
You didn't think of asking him since you're on the show? Hey, you know that intro that you do?
Yeah, we gotta find. I want to know what that says and what it's from because that's funny.
I don't want to seem like an idiot because maybe it's something that everybody knows and I don't know.
I'll be the idiot then. What's that from, people? My dad, I have no idea.
What are you gonna say? How could you ask that question?
We
what are you gonna say?
on our show.
No, how? That's true. Maybe someone's gonna get back to us and tell us what it is. Okay.
Well, it was the open. It was the open. It was the opening for one of his episodes, so we'll just be like the opening for episode.
No, it's all the '90s shows. The whole fucking. He did a bunch of them. One for every year of the '90s, and then Roundtable. So
but people are good at that, picking out. Oh, that's a clip from that. That's a clip from. That's a line from that. That's a line from that. That's a line from that. I bet Derek could listen to that and probably pick out all 50 movies that we just heard, where I didn't understand a single one of them, even though they're probably like.
Oh, I knew every one but that.
Really, it was going so fast I could barely hear. But I heard, "Look at me, I'm Leatherface."
Okay,
and I've never heard that line before, but that's what it sounded like to me.
Okay, see, I thought it was Norma Bates. I was like, what the fuck? That's crazy. It blew me away.
It could be Norma Bates.
Yeah, well,
or
either way.
Look at me, I'm Anne Heche. From Psycho 98 with Norma Bates.
I'll tell you what, back to the film real quick.
Yeah.
The fact that the father considered killing her, I 100% wouldn't hate him if he did. I could see where he thought, hey, because if I could do this and this and then I could kill her, and then then the boy can be with us. We don't have to worry about her ass anymore. Because even though you could be a sane person, those thoughts can cross your mind when you're pushed.
Especially in this case, it's your family.
They killed the kid.
The last bit of blood relative from his son. Like, I would be. I shared the same thoughts. No, and now I'm really feeling bad because I'm getting emotional thinking back to all this stuff. And so then it was effective. So then everything I said just fucking punted right out the fucking window.
Yeah, and that scene where Kate's crying and she's talking about how she didn't walk Andrew all the way to the crematorium.
Yeah.
Oh my God, and how she ultimately did it later on, but she was crying about how she didn't do it with Andrew when he was all alone. Oh my God!
Is it better than
I wish he had killed her. He's eating popcorn. He's making out during Schindler's List over here.
Nice.
Yeah, this. I saved this one for last because I felt like it was going to be a quick review because it's not really like. It's a documentary that focuses. There is a lot of information pertaining to where everything went wrong in terms of decisions made by government officials, but it's also a lot of testament from friends and family about what the type of guy that Andrew was, the type of the type of young little boy Zachary was, and the type of people that Kate and Andrew are, and it's a testament to quality people,
How much of a monster she was. Sorry, Brandon, for cutting you off.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Because she could have just said, taken her own life.
Yeah.
Or she could have just said, here, take the kid.
Yep.
If you want. But the thing is,
flopped into the sea or whatever. But
but that's not it. But the thing is,
she
held, that was her power. She had that over, and then ultimately she was going to say, okay, well, fuck you people. She, in her deal, is giving them the ultimate FU at the end. And she is vengeful and fucked up. And from the bat she was fucked up. She was calling her freaking or Andrew's what do you call it? What do you call it? Ex? No, well that too. But I mean, his ex and talking to her about intimate. With her parent and all that.
What about the answering machine? Like, you just fucking killed them. Now I'm gonna go call him and leave a message like,
that's typical.
Oh yeah, typical, but it's still fucking crazy.
Of course
it was. Yeah, it's the ultimate evil act. It's more evil than if she had killed the parents.
What's more evil? The answering machine call?
No, what she did. What she ultimately did. Versus showing up and, hey, my son likes you more than me. I'm going to shoot you both in the head. That would have been less evil than what she did. Like, it's the most evil thing I can think of. It's just, it's brutal. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the strength of characters, these shining lights in this horrific story is just really what makes you find a glimmer of hope in the end.
By no means is this a popcorn movie, although I'm enjoying this while we're talking about it. I came in
it's a Goobers movie.
7.5 out of 10. And again, it's not about like I love. I
You came up
for the movie. No, just for
came
the
up
movie.
to a
I didn't come up. That's just
Oh,
where
okay.
I was. I was not at a 10 out of 10 or.
No, hey, buddy, I get it. I get it. It is what it is. You didn't hate on the movie at all.
No, it was good. It was good. I just didn't like some of the choices. But then when Brandon was bringing them back up, I'm like, you know what? No, then now I'm reliving it, and I'm thinking maybe they're not as bad. But it's a good rating. It's good cause, good rating. The movie will infuriate as well as suppress.
There you go. I'm really high on it, actually. There was very little I could find wrong with it, except the fact that I called part of it what was going to happen. And I guess maybe in the very beginning they spent a little too much time building the Andrew character up. But I guess it's the kind of movie, I know it's weird to say I want to give it a second view, but with the knowledge of everything, I think it'll almost fall into place better.
Well, you gotta remember that's another thing about it. I'm sorry before you rate it. Just that's another thing. It shifts a lot in terms of what the story's being told. Don't forget this starts out as a film about Andrew, so Zachary can watch it. So that's why there's so much buildup at the beginning. That's why I liked where the story went in the end, because you know they could have ended it after the death and just been like, here's where the system failed and boo boo, and instead it's like I almost gave up making this film, and then it realized this wasn't a film for you anymore, and it shifts to Kate and David, and then those testimonies come in and that music, and I know it's people might say, oh, it's done for dramatic effect. You don't need to have any of that music there. He doesn't need to say it's for Kate and David. Now you know this and you see it, and it's just as emotional with or without it, and it's just I mean it's.
And maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's where my argument was going is. You don't need all that to get the point across. But he chose that as a filmmaker, and maybe that's what I'm getting at earlier with some of the parts that he inserts with rage. I was angry too. We're all angry. That comes through just from the presentation of the material, not through your editing choices within the said documentary. However, he has the right to do it the way he wanted to do it, hence the reason my rating's not higher. Depressing, like I said, and I'm glad it made some change, but yeah, 7.5.
Are you talking about the father a couple times when he loses his shit?
No, that's the father.
He's talking about the sound effects of the screaming in the background, or some of the stuff added for dramatic effect, almost to like guide you where you should be emotionally during the film. Even though
I noticed. I guess I never noticed it.
I thought it was just like shoved down my throat like Mandingo's cock.
No, I didn't know what you were talking about with the rage. I just thought you meant a couple times when the father was.
Oh, you put the red filter on one thing.
Yeah, there's a red filter and there's a and it's really actually quite frightening the first time.
Really?
It goes really loud, and it's like
I didn't notice any of that shit. Wow.
First time I saw that, I had almost like this like drowsy, almost like out of body experience. Like what the fuck? Like I had seen a ghost. Like it was just it absolutely drained me that screaming, but.
Wow.
In an effective way, and I needed that. You know, I mean, I didn't need that, but it was effective, and I'm glad it was there.
Isn't that something that I didn't even take notice of that stuff? Holy shit! Wow. All right, well, I'm fucking way high on it, man. 9.5.
Holy shit!
Yeah, I thought it was tremendous.
Yeah, I'm even higher than that. I'm a 10 out of 10. I find nothing wrong with this film. I think it's a perfect film, and I understand, and you know, to think about other people in your life who are wonderful in times of heartache and struggle and negativity in the world, I think is the point of this film. And I feel like maybe some people, maybe Christians, saw the filmmaker's choices as sensationalizing his group as like saints and angels, which a lot of them were, and they just seem like they are, and they're great people and amazing people, and these parents are really are angels on earth. They're doing great things despite overcoming this. But I don't think he's saying that like my group is better than your group. I feel like
he's a great friend. It's a good movie. That's
and that's what it is. It's like it's this friend making this film for his loved ones. So it almost like I don't think he would have ever expected the success this film has had.
Has it? Like I'm not trying to be a smartass.
I really feel like it's had tremendous success.
I didn't even know it existed until you brought it up. I think on a depressing show.
Yeah.
Oh, I heard of it a few years ago.
Yeah, no, it's
B brought it up. I think for one of the most depressing movies he's seen.
Yeah, it's very
maybe.
well regarded and very well accepted, and that's probably a positive that he takes from it as well, because more people have seen it. I feel like he just made this film obviously for Zachary, and then just finished it at the end just for something that Kate and David could have, just as we're with you, but I don't know. I'm exhausted from talking.
Well,
but 10 out
Mark,
of 10 for me.
Mark is sure aware of it. Mark Latham, who gave us these three, he's sure aware of this movie.
Yeah, and three fantastic films. I rate all three of them near perfect. 29 out of 30 for me.
Wow.
I mean, I'm just when he picked the show, I was like, damn, that's a good solid show, but that's not an easy show to get through. But
indeed, but we did okay.
I appreciate the picks.
Yeah, sure do. Yep. And we're gonna end on one final thing, more Patreon related stuff. Our top 20 found footage movies.
Found footage.
Yeah.
Dogging.
So what we usually do is we each do our 20 to 11, and then we go around that way, and then we each do our 10 to 1. And
this was difficult, man. Like to really rank them. I mean, I think I'm happy with what's on my list. I feel like there might be a few that are not here that could have easily swapped out for maybe the 19th, 20th spot, but I also have changed my opinion on a few. And like
you have found footage from 1920?
That's what I thought he said. The 1920s. Yeah.
19 and 20. I also do think, like, I was trying to pick like the best one if it was from a franchise, but then I said sometimes it just, sometimes there might be multiple ones from a franchise. Who knows? And you know what? I tried not to do the tie, because if I could have done the tie, I probably would have had 19 at a tie. But I decided to go a different route.
I cheated a little.
Oh, you son of a bitch, and I'll do the tie. I don't give a fuck.
I cheated a little because I kind of had to, because I whittled it down to like, I think 24 movies. And then I whittled it down again to 21. And I just didn't. I wanted to shine a light on one thing in particular. There's a couple that I've only seen one time, and that made it kind of difficult to exclude them or include them. But I still did. But I was just like...
Well, then I just revamped my 19 to incorporate it. So it's like a cheat. Just like my top 10 horror films were a cheat way back when I had a couple of ties on there. So
hey, whatever. I
left off 3 great ones that I've only seen one time, but I couldn't remember them well enough. So I'm just like, I know these were great. I remember them having an effect on me, but I couldn't remember. So I just was like, all right, they're off. But
the ones that stand out on Dave's challenge are the ones that a lot of them had made this list. And then, of course, ones that we've talked about on the show. Damn popcorn. It's coming back to haunt me now.
Yep. See? Just don't. I'm just glad you're awake. It's okay.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, don't wash that popcorn down with any red wine.
Yeah, I gotta go grab some right now, actually, you scumbag.
Shit. So, yeah, we all are found of fan footage. Found of
fan footage.
Found of fan footage.
Brilliant. Fans have found footage. How did you happen to say that?
I don't know. Well, it's 3 F's. It's kind of a tongue twister.
No, but that's amazing. That's like the hardest of the 3 ways to combine it. Founds of fan footage.
Fans of found footage. I always have.
Expect you to say footage fan found sooner.
I don't know what I'm gonna say. A bunch of F words again.
Yeah. Hopefully it's a list.
Yeah, it's a list. Fans of found footage. A Christian became one thanks to me and the challenge list. So, boom! I'm gonna gloat about it again.
Hey, might as well. I shit on this for a long time. I said I didn't mind like the usual suspects here and there. I definitely have changed my tune on it. The Gallows is my number 1.
At least it's not shot on video.
Yeah. I wouldn't have any. There would be no list. Shit on video.
Not very many at all.
Number 20. Okay,
so now,
number 19.
Before we do it,
shit. Get better time. Better ways to spend my time. Sorry, Dave.
No, it's okay. I just want to point out to everyone that listen, that the mockumentary / faux documentary, whatever you want to call it, that counts. They have to count. Yes, we realize that found footage is not an actual subgenre, but when you break these movies down, it's hand in hand. Even, I don't want to give anything away, but I mean, just about, I'd say 90% of these movies that are found footage are done documentary style. There's very few times when some kids just happen to be going somewhere and they're filming for the fuck of
or
it.
they open up. The police found these tapes, and those are usually the shit ones.
Right, and
the police found these tapes. You are about to
shitter.
see. You're about to see the unedited of what happened to this group of kids.
Yeah.
There's a couple that are found footage, like 388 Arletta Avenue.
Never saw it.
Oh, really?
That's one of the there were a couple I didn't see. That was one I didn't see, and
Okay,
I mentioned the tunnel and an alien abduction incident in Lake County were three that I had wanted to see that I didn't get to see.
Okay, well, people may have a beef, but we're putting it out before we get there. That if it's a movie that's set up to be like a mockumentary, that a documentary that's not real, then it's going to count on this list. That's all there is to it. And
yes.
I want to talk more about found footage. I'll talk about it all day. I almost wish that next season we could just review a found footage movie every episode. That's how much more I want to keep watching them. And
we can.
Well, maybe we can.
The year of the found footage. The year of the found fan footage.
I forgot it already.
I forgot what you said.
We are founds of fan footage. That's what it'll be called. Yeah, founds of fan footage. Okay. So anyway, this is from George, by the way. Thank you, sir. We're so happy that you picked this particular one. We should bring this Patreon back. A top 20, they're not hard to do. Anyway,
we'll bring George back. I'm curious about him.
Nice. Okay, so who wants to go first?
Okay, my number 20. The Collingwood Story.
I haven't seen that one. Everybody's
I can't
blowing it.
find it fucking anywhere.
I watched it for the 2002 show that I did.
How did you get your hands on it?
I honestly feel like I watched it on YouTube. And again, this is one I only saw once, but I found very atmospheric and very creepy.
It's on my list, but yeah. I've seen it only in bits and pieces, but it's still on the list because of what I've seen.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to jump all over that.
No, that's okay. Number 19, and here's where I start to cheat a little because some of these, franchises, I kind of group them together just for the sake of showcasing more.
That's okay.
Yeah, and number 19, I just recently watched the third one, and you know what? I'm impressed with the trilogy, Hell House. I'm impressed with them as a whole. I really enjoy them.
I fucked up. When we were texting the other night, I'm like, what the fuck is everybody going on about? I was confusing this with the houses October built.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was confusing it with. The one that part 2 came out last year or 2 years ago. Right now, and I hated it. Yeah. That's what I was confusing. Why are people blowing this series? They're not that good.
And I thought maybe 3 was going to suck because I hadn't watched 3 yet when you wrote that. And I watched that and I'm like, you know what? This is a pretty solid conclusion to this trilogy. I actually kind of really enjoyed it. There's definitely issues, but I liked it. It had good atmosphere, good characters. And you know what? I was pleasantly surprised. In terms of October, it's a great month, but it can't build houses for shit.
I like the first one. Huh.
Yeah, the first one's definitely better than the second one. But,
definitely.
Yeah. Okay, so number 18, Home Movie. Also a one-time watch, but, man, very disturbing and very dark. We're just sort of banging these out quick, right?
Yeah.
We're not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Preferably quicker.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
No, I'm kidding.
I didn't know if I was supposed to be talking about these because some of these I don't even remember that well.
I'm kidding.
20, 19, 18, 17 exists. Great Bigfoot found footage. Love it. Indeed. Number 16, Grave Encounters. And I'm just gonna again put them together. I really hope one day we get a third to finish this off because it's terrific. Number 15, The Conspiracy. Just recently rewatched this one again. Oh, what a good film and really, really shocking ending that can, kind of make your hair stand on edge. Number 14, one Dave recommended to me. I don't think he's as high on it, but The Triangle. Really my kind of film, almost. And I read about it, and somebody described it as almost like a found footage version of Picnic and Hanging Rock. And I love Picnic and Hanging Rock. And this did not disappoint. I saw a lot of the comparisons in there and really well done. Nice. Number 13, Behind the Mask.
Wow,
it keeps yeah, he's back. He's throwing on me. Behind the Mask. Number 12 will be Wreck.
Number 12.
Number 12 is Wreck. Yeah, love it.
Okay.
And love the whole franchise, but this is strictly for number 1. And at number 11, one I recently watched, a little bit on the long side, but really rich in story and character development and quite haunting. And I'm not sure if I'm saying this right, but
I know what you're saying.
You want to say it for me?
As soon as you said a little bit on the long side, I had an idea right away.
Go ahead. What is it?
Mandingo.
I'm guessing you're talking about Norai the Curse.
Norai the curse. Yeah, I didn't know if it was Noroi or Norai, but
what do
yeah.
I know? That's what I took it.
No, but that's fine. The curse. I just recently watched it for the first time, and I always been skipping it because it's close to 2 hours. But man, it didn't feel like 2 hours. It moved, and it had a lot of character development. Really, quality found footage.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's my first 10.
Interesting, man. Can you say them one more time? Just rifle through.
Okay,
I want to comment on something. I think
Collingwood Story, Hell House, Home Movie, Exists, Grave Encounters, The Conspiracy, The Triangle, Behind the Mask, Wreck, Noroi the Curse, yeah.
Okay, I really need to watch Home Movie, Noroi, and The Triangle over again. All 3 of those are on my challenge. I was impressed enough with them for that.
Yeah, I went off your
again.
challenge. I looked up. I tried to Google hidden found footage films, and I found very few. In fact, I don't really think I found that many. Maybe 1 or 2 that were not on your list that they said watch, and I've watched a couple of them, and they were shit actually.
Really, what were they?
Like Screamers showed up on someone's list as like a great found footage. I thought it was garbage. I don't know if My Little Eye was on your list, but I was not impressed with it. I wasn't.
Okay.
That's
fair. Okay.
Want me to go, Dave? Since you are the
Doesn't
found
matter.
footage guru, why don't you go last?
Since I'm the biggest found of fan footage, yeah.
Yeah, and you know that I'll rifle through these, unlike B.
You do.
So,
and number 11.
Yeah. 20, House of 100 Eyes. 19, a tie between Creep 1 and 2. Because I actually did say I preferred Creep 2. Yeah. But I actually will put them together as a companion piece, and I'll put them both there at number 19. 18, Troll Hunter. 17, Exists. Hey, we have a tie there, Brandon.
Hey!
16, Crow's Nest. Again, I've watched this one time, and I remember really liking this when I was doing your challenge. Now, I don't remember if this was on your challenge, Dave, or if it was an offshoot that I just happened to watch, but I really
still
enjoyed
on
it.
there.
Dude, you told me to watch it too, and I watched the trailer for it, and I never got to watch it, but I watched the trailer for it, and I was just like, I put it off because I knew I didn't have enough time because I had to watch, all the other movies, and I was just like, I'm going to put this one off for now.
And again, I might be higher on it because even Dave always goes like, wow, you like it that much? I don't know. For whatever reason, when I did the challenge, this is one of the ones that stood out to me. So I kept it on there. Number 15, As Above, So Below. Number 14, The Poughkeepsie Tapes, excuse me. Number 13, fuck you. Number 13, The Fourth Kind.
Oh, good pick, man. Good pick.
That was creepy. That's still creepy, man.
Dude, that's a good pick. I like
Number
that.
12, Brandon's favorite, Therapy. I really like that one.
Oh, yeah.
The one that sort of, I know you guys were as high as I was. Number 11, Megan is Missing.
You need therapy.
All right.
With that list, I need therapy.
Yeah, because it's better than yours.
Oh! Yeah, I'm not even going to ask the listeners to vote for because anytime I'm involved with voting for a list, I'm never number one. Even when Dave tries to cheer me up,
you're usually the top three, though.
Cheer up, B.
Yeah.
Your
top
solo
three.
show was not the most downloaded. Still one of my favorite parts of the show. When Dave tried to cheer me up with bad news.
Okay, Christian, can you rifle them again?
Yeah.
So I can.
20, House of 100 Eyes. 19, Creep 1 and 2. 18, Troll Hunter. 17, Exists. 16, Crow's Nest. 15, As Above, So Below. 14, The Poughkeepsie Tapes. 13, The Fourth Kind. 12, Therapy. And 11, Megan is Missing.
There's some on there that I actually liked that I left off my list, but I'm glad you brought them up, like Poughkeepsie Tapes and Fourth Kind. Yeah.
I need to watch 100 Eyes again. I mean, again,
100 Eyes too.
From my list.
That's a good one. That's a good one that I didn't have on my list, but I've only seen it once. But it was really
right.
I remember
dark.
A couple being fucking bad.
Dude, yeah, they're dark. That's a creepy.
It's on my challenge list, but I just saw it 3 years ago and only once, and I didn't. Some of them I felt comfortable putting on after one view, and others I didn't. On my challenge list, yes, but on my top 20 all time, maybe not. But I have to definitely go back and watch. After tonight, I'm going to watch.
Maybe you're not such a flounder of fish footage.
And that bumped off. I guess I'll save my bump off till after. To avoid
Bump
spoilers.
off. I'll save my jump off till after. All right. Boom. Fish fingers. Okay. Fish fingers and founds of fan footage. Yeah. It's all about F's tonight. Okay.
Oh, nasty. See.
Ooh, fish fingers. Exactly. 2 in 1. Yeah. Fish fingers and stink fingers.
I go the other way.
Nice. Yeah. Hey.
I'm lucky, so I don't really know how to do it.
Shit. Okay.
The boys always complain.
Number 20. This is the only cheat, only because I said it before that it came down to 21
Friday
that
too.
I wanted to highlight. And okay, I wanted to mention alien abduction incident in Lake County.
Damn it!
just because I've only seen it one time. And people are going to look at it now, and it looks rather amateurish. But the thing is, it was made in 1998, and the way it looks, and it looks like a home video from the past. It looks 100% legit, and it gives you a creepy feeling when you see things that are going on. It's just one of those experiences that stuck with me. There's another movie that stuck with me, and it's not on the list at all, and I'm just going to say something quick, and it's called Devil's Pass. There is something in that movie that sticks with me about the girl being able to see her own death happen in the past, and she talks about it now, and it kind of comes to fruition here. And for some reason, something about that part of the story always really creeped me out. But anyway.
It's another one that's well regarded that I didn't get to, Devil's Pass.
Watch it. Is it really?
Yeah.
Man. Okay.
What'd you say?
Rennie Harlan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
you're right, yeah.
But number 20, Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon. I can't believe that B came higher than me. When we did it on the show, I was at a 7.5. He was like a 6 or a 6.5.
And now, but now I'm up to like a 7.5, even close to 8.
Wow. Okay. All right. Cool. So 20, Behind the Mask. Number 19, The Visit. I don't know if it's going to appear on anybody else's list, but
I bumped it, man. But I liked it. It was high on my. It was my number 10, I think, of that year.
Yeah, it was mine too, 10 or 11. It was like right there. Yeah, so definitely. Another one I've only seen once, but it impressed me, and I keep wanting to go back and show it to my daughter because I think she'd like it.
Oh, God. Of course he said it, and you finished your statement, I want to show it to my daughter.
Oh, God.
I'm just not even going to respond.
I was wrong when I heard impressed.
And his stood
I knew
straight
you
up.
weren't talking about when you said impressed, but then you said you wanted to show it to his daughter. I'm like, don't say anything. This sounds like the beginning of The Hunt, too.
Right. Okay. The movie in question at number 18.
Chops.
Number 18 is Troll Hunter. Okay. Troll Hunter.
Hey, we tied.
Did we?
Yeah.
Nice. Number 17, The Taking of Deborah Logan.
In the rump.
Number 16, Exists. Right about the same area you guys had.
Man.
Nice.
17. So there you go. Number 15, Creep. Big fan of Creep. Number 14, Megan is Missing. I got to tell you, watch this movie. Some people might think it's amateurish, but I think it's done intentionally, and I think the stuff with the news is done as mocking the news. Some people think, oh, that looks so fake. I'm like, no, I think that they're actually taking a jab at like the way news is done.
That pic of her later in the movie is embedded in my head.
Dude, the last 15 minutes are just fucking horrific. The last 15 minutes of that movie are almost as bad as watching Dear Zachary. Because they really hit home. They really hit home for me. That movie stuck with me for a couple of days.
Dude.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, it's tough. Number 13, Lake Mungo.
That was my bump off.
It was a bump off?
Yeah, I really enjoyed that one, man.
I like the little flipperoonie they do halfway through, and then I like the way it ends. It's kind of creepy. Another thing about somebody being able to forecast something about their fate, and that shit fucking spooks me out, man. So, Lake Mungo. Number 12, Paranormal Activity, the marked ones. I was very high on this one when we did our retro, which I loved when we did that. I think it's episode 35. I can't remember for certain, but that's that.
Great retro.
Yeah, I really loved that one. Number 11, the Poughkeepsie tapes. That one hits hard. That one seems very believable, and it's a different type of horror.
Creepy as fuck.
Oh, yes, it is creepy as fuck. So, real quick, Alien Abduction tied with Behind the Mask. Number 19, The Visit. 18, Troll Hunter. 17, The Taking of Deborah Logan. 16, Exist. 15, Creep. 14, Megan is Missing. 13, Lake Mungo. 12, Paranormal Activity, the marked ones. 11, the Poughkeepsie tapes.
Nice.
B.
Okay.
Right.
Before I rattle off my top 10, I just want to say one film I excluded that I consider a 10 out of 10 film, and I excluded it just because people debate whether it's found footage. I think it is, but I left it off for the sake of having another film on there. Is Cannibal Holocaust. So it's not going to show up. Otherwise, it would be probably
Same with me.
in my top 3. Probably at number 3, but it's not.
Understood. For some reason, I don't loop it with the other found footage movies. It just doesn't seem to me like it. That's just me. Someone else puts it there.
Same with me. I don't think so either.
Yeah.
We're in the minority, I think. But well.
I guess.
All right, number 10, Digging Up the Marrow.
Ooh.
Big fan of this one.
Adam Green?
Yeah, really love it. Really love the way it's done. Think it's creepy, effective. Wish there would be a sequel, Into the Marrow. Or something. Marrow. Number 9. Again, a big cheat. You know, it would be Paranormal Activity 2, my favorite of the franchise. But the whole franchise is so solid that it deserves to be placed in the top 10 because it's one of the stronger franchises that people, I think, often overlook. Look, if you're not a fan of found footage and you don't like it, you don't like it. But it consistently, for 6 films, it's fairly solid. Even its weakest entry is an above average entry, number 4. So, Paranormal Activity, number 9. Number 8, Cloverfield. Huge fan of that.
Nice.
7, Megan is Missing. Like you said, the last 15 minutes, certain images, just absolutely haunting. Number 6, Troll Hunter. Heard they were going to do an American remake at one point. Wish they would. It's so awesome. Number 5, Creep, the first one. Not a huge fan of the second one, but the first one is super effective. 4 is Blair Witch Project.
Okay.
Super effective. Big fan of it. Big fan of both of them, but first one, classic for me. Number 3, VHS 2. Quickly becoming one of my favorite anthologies, period. It's amazing. And found footage style is fantastic. Number 2, this is the gem that I discovered first time watch. It almost made number 1, but absolutely one of the creepiest, most powerful, emotional, haunting found footage and truly found footage films I've ever seen. Lake Mungo.
Nice.
Absolutely fantastic.
It was great. I booked it. It was I had it at that House of 100 Eyes I gave it to.
Yeah. And even when I went back, with the reveals at the end, and when I went back and watched it, and it's actually there, it's not the stuff they throw in at the end that's there. It's actually there when you see it the first time. It's just out of your periphery. Oh my God. I was just like, get the fuck out of here. Because there was one scene in particular where you see someone and then you see them like 8 feet over, but you don't see it the first time.
Damn.
And then you go back and you watch it and it's like, they're right there. How did I miss that? Really messes with your mind. And number 1, one of my favorite movies, period, What We Do in the Shadows. I just think Taika Waititi, or however you say his name. I've seen a bunch of his other films. I'm looking forward to Jojo Rabbit. I think he's a brilliant filmmaker, and I just think the comedy and everything in this film is fantastic.
Nice, dude.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so real quick.
Okay, let me Digging Up the Marrow, Paranormal Activity, Cloverfield, Megan is Missing, Troll Hunter, Creep, Blair Witch Project, VHS 2, Lake Mungo, What We Do in the Shadows. And I'll do my bumps after we all finish our 10s.
All right. Here it is, folks. Number 10, Rec 2. Number 9, Unfriended. Number 8.
Fuck, I forgot that.
Number 8, The Bay. Number 7, Afflicted. Number 6, Paranormal Activity, The Marked Ones.
Nice.
My favorite of the series. I absolutely love that one. I agree with Brandon. Obviously, without the first, you don't have the series. So the first people are going to be is not on your list. It's not. I think they all should be mentioned, but this is my favorite of the series for sure. Number 5, The Conspiracy. Number 4, The Den. Number 3, Cloverfield. Number 2, The Blair Witch Project. Excuse me. And number 1, Wreck.
Nice, dude. Nice. Damn, I really need to watch The Conspiracy again. Again, another movie that's on my list that I've only seen once, and I'm only going by memory when I do the list.
I need to watch Unfriended again.
1 and 2. The second one's good.
I watched
Dark Web.
Yeah, Dark Web again. Just recently, I watched both of them with my kids, and they both hold up great. I love that style. I told you that is the style that I envisioned for the Exploding Heads horror movie podcast or horror podcast movie.
Horror. Yeah, here you go. Fish fingers.
Founds of fan footage.
Yes. Boom. So did you run yours off again, or no?
Wreck 2, Unfriended, The Bay, Afflicted, PA, The Marked Ones, The Conspiracy, The Den, Cloverfield, The Blair Witch Project, and Wreck.
Nice. The Blair Witch Project and Wreck. Okay. All right. Here we go. Number 2, The Den. Number 2. Sorry. I'm tired.
He's going to go all out of order. Is you number 5 now?
Number 3, 4, 6. Yeah. Okay. Number 10, The Den. Holy cow. 10 and Den. You think I'd be able to just,
The 10.
Yeah. Okay. Number 10, The Den. Number 9, The Bay. The only movie that really terrified my daughter, by the way. Number 8, VHS, the original. I do not see a weak segment in that thing. When I look back at them now, I like every single one in that movie.
We have the trilogy coming up, so it's gonna definitely be some butt heading.
Indeed, and I just watched part 2 for the Watson show, which probably will drop before this one, and my takeaway was a little different on
interesting.
Some of them compared to VHS, the original. But I haven't watched VHS, the original, in quite a while. So when we do them for the trilogy, is it next show? I don't even know. No, it might be 2 shows away. It's 2 shows away. Yeah, either way, maybe I'll come off different. But for right now, the original VHS, number 8. Number 7, a movie which I've mentioned many times. I'm a big fan of it. I love the franchise, and it's my favorite of the franchise, bar none, Paranormal Activity 3. Absolutely love that film.
Nice.
Number 6. Nobody mentioned this one. It's it's only a few years old, and I'm a big fan of it. And the more I watch it, the more I like it.
Savage Land.
Savage Land, indeed.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yes.
I wanted to have it on my list, but I only saw it once, and I remember it having a huge effect on me. But again, it's just one I couldn't remember enough about, where I felt like almost like it'd be cheating to have it on the list. But I remember you raving that, and I saw it, and you were not wrong.
It's really good, man.
Those
is. Photos are fucking haunting, and the authenticity of it, it just looks real. It just really pulls it off.
No, you're right. You're right.
So that's number 6.
Cool.
Number 5, Cloverfield. Of course, we're all very high on that, and with good reason. We reviewed it on one of our shows. Number 4, What We Do in the Shadows. Yeah. Big fan of that movie. I think it was like top 3 for that year of 2015. Love the movie. Funny. Everything about it is great. What We Do in the Shadows. Number 3, Wreck 2.
Nice.
Great movie. Great continuation, picking up where the first one left off. And just, there's not a dull moment in that movie. It's great. Number 2, The Blair Witch Project.
Nice.
I spoke about this one recently on Duncan's show because we talked about all the 90s films, and it made the top 20, of course. And for the longest time, I didn't watch it. It was just in the back because I became such a big fan of found footage. I said it right that time that I thought it would be tame. And I just kind of lost interest in the Blair Witch Project, and I hadn't watched it in years. And about 3 years ago, I sat down by myself and I watched it, and it fucking blew me away. And I was like, wow. And then that part when she goes, what the fuck is that? And she's yelling, dude, I'm telling you, man, it freaked me out. I just, whatever it is about that last view, I don't want to watch it again because it took me inside big, and it really.
Dude, I reenact
like
that
Deborah
scene.
Logan.
I reenact that scene in the shower sometimes. Sometimes when I'm washing myself, I'll reach around from behind and grab my balls. I'll be like, what the hell was that? Who's there?
Good old fish fingers.
I have to do a little add on to that, Dave, too. I kind of fell out with that movie too. I saw it in the theater, got it on when it hit DVD, and I watched it on Halloween night. I think it was 1999. Wow. Halloween night, 1999. I'm pretty sure that's when it dropped, and I watched it that night, and I loved it, and it's always held a special place. And I kind of got out of it. I actually like Book of Shadows as well. I saw that in a sneak preview in Toronto in the theater, and I loved it. And then the one that they released a few years ago. It's solid. It could have made my list as well. I really like it. People deserve to watch that again. And with the video game that came out a month or so ago, I'm all Blair Witched up now. I ended up watching the new one again. I want to watch Book of Shadows, and I'm saving those for Halloween.
And Bear Wench.
And Bear Wench, of course. Which are going to wrap you over the head with.
A bear wrench, yes.
No, that's the porno version. They have the bear Wench project.
I think it's a wrench.
No, wench.
Oh, wench. I don't know.
Well, I was very happy that you were going to hit me over the head with a wench.
Right? A wench.
Maybe you should go to the shower, grab your balls.
Who did that? Try it. It's really funny. Try it. Next time you're in the shower, just reach around, grab your tickle your balls, be like, who the fuck did that?
You stick him in ice first?
No, just use your non-dominant hand so it feels like it's someone else. But
yes, stranger.
Who's that?
Do you hold it up in the air for like 5 minutes first or something? Let the blood drain?
Just creep it from out. Yeah. Sit on it first and sit on it.
Yeah. Oof, man.
Anyway, your number one, Dave.
Anyway, let me say something. The Blair Witch trilogy is on our Patreon. It's one of the options if anybody wants to pick it for us. Maybe we can watch it again soon.
I thought that was the one that was picked. Sorry for cutting you off there. I thought that was picked.
VHS was picked.
VHS, okay.
I'm a huge fan of that newer one, but I only saw it once. That newer
Blair Witch?
Yeah, wasn't a huge fan.
I liked it.
Yeah, again, I don't feel like it hurts the original, but I feel like some of the theories and the mysteries I heard about the original are certainly thrown out the window when things are seen and explained more in the new one. But if
I don't know about that.
Yeah. Watch it again.
Yeah, well, maybe someone will pick it. We can get in depth.
I'll watch it again anyway.
Somebody pick it on the Patreon, will you please?
Pick a Patreon.
Come on, you guys know you want to hear about those. Anyway. You guys know what my number one is? I'm going to ask the two of you.
Rec.
Of course. I've said it many times. It's my favorite found footage. Yes. So, boom.
Brady,
another movie. Not a dull moment.
I had no clue.
Really? I reviewed it on this very show, and I gave it a 10 out of 10.
I can't remember a damn thing anymore. My memory, honestly, if I'm being totally honest with you, when I was reading off my top 20 list, I forgot to say Blair Witch at like number 6. And so when I forgot, I immediately bumped it up to 4. So I kind of I'm losing my mind.
It's okay. We all are. Found of fan footage, right? It'll happen,
Yeah, but no, a lot of films were mentioned that just got the bump for me. Afflicted, The Bay, The Den. But some of the ones that weren't mentioned that I left off, again, I only saw it once. I know it's really highly regarded, and it's very dark and disturbing, and it's black and white. Man Bites Dog, I owe it another watch. Atrocious. I rewatched it. I actually really enjoyed it. It's one of those things where you think it's going to be one thing, and it's totally like something that's kind of right in front of you the whole time. But
that was the one that I complained about. It was a Spanish one, right?
Yeah, Spanish.
I remember not liking that one because I know a lot of movies have running around. That one just looked, especially found footage, that one just looked like it was more annoyingly done. I just remember not liking that one.
And the last one I had off, again, it's been so long since I've seen it, but the last broadcast. The last broadcast.
I didn't like the way it ended. I didn't like the way they wrapped it up.
Because it goes into a movie at that point, right? It leaves the found footage realm, doesn't it? Doesn't it go into like third person at the end?
It's not something weird.
Yeah.
I didn't even remember. That's why I left it off. And another one I didn't rewatch, and I don't remember being super high on it, but might be worth a watch if people, are starting to get into it, is S&M Man. I remember thinking that it was an actual documentary, and it turned out to be like a found footage film. So I remember
that. S&M.
Yeah.
I don't remember that one, but
yeah, I think it was a couple years ago, that one. But let me rattle off my 10 because I don't think I did that. Just my 10. Just my thoughts. Okay.
10 to Den.
10 The Den, that's right. 10 The Den, 9 The Bay, 8 VHS, 7 Paranormal Activity 3, 6 Savage Land, 5 Cloverfield, 4 What We Do in the Shadows, 3 Wreck 2, 2 The Blair Witch Project, number 1 Wreck. So Christian and me had the same 1 and 2. Wow.
Let me answer your question. I will 10 The Den only if Christian 9's The Bay. Sounded like you were giving orders. Hey, you 10 The Den and you 9 The Bay.
There's some good ones mentioned that like Mongo, Visit Savage Land, like that. You can easily make a top 25 to 30.
I can't believe how blown away I was by Lake Mungo that I had this in my list to actually buy it on DVD, having never seen it before, and I actually was terrified, and like it was a genuinely really good film. Like instantly jumped up to like one of the top spots.
What was that flashlight one?
Nightlight.
Fleshlight.
Fleshlight. I make that joke every time that movie gets brought up. I set you up for that one.
Nice. How about Exists and Blair Witch Project, done by the same director? The only guy to appear twice. Oh no, I
Wreck 1 and 2.
Wreck.
Yeah.
I correct myself. Yep.
Who did the Exists? What's his name?
Eduardo Sanchez.
Yeah. Sanchez. That's right. I couldn't.
Dirty.
Dirty Sanchez. Dirty's brother.
Dirty. And I do want to mention Found Footage 3D again because I think it's really well done. I think you guys should check it. I know C doesn't like it.
I just thought I was blown away at how much you liked it. I thought it was just I came right in the middle, if you remember.
It was like Scream for found footage to me. Like what Scream is to slashers, that's what that was to found footage. I really appreciated what they were doing.
I like to see it in 3D for sure.
Yeah, that would help. Capture, Kill, Release was
that was another good one. The recent good one.
Again, that was good. That when upon first view, I don't know if I ever feel like watching it again though.
That's fair.
I was high on it. We were all high on it first view. I remember that.
Check out Nightlight. Check out Fleshlight. Check out Fleshlight 2, The Pocket Pussy Chronicles.
All right, indeed.
Pussy Chronicles. I don't know why I like my own joke there.
Yeah,
that's good.
A lot.
So next show.
No one else did. Fuck you guys.
Next show. I liked it. What are we going to pick? We have a choice.
Ooh,
interview from Mark L. Again, a choice. 3 movies. Interview with the Vampire, The Others, or The Orphanage.
I vote for The Orphanage.
Oh wait, or is it Bram? Did he give us 3 and add Dracula? Oh, and Bram Stoker's Dracula. So there's 4 movies on there.
To choose one from?
Choose one from those 4?
I think so. Did I fuck up? How did Dracula get there? Because
I noticed that you had Dracula on there. I didn't know if that was like a separate review that we were doing also, or if that's just pick one from the 4.
Yeah, I think it was pick one from the 4 because otherwise I would have.
I have my number 1 pick ready.
I already blew my load. I would watch all of those again, but I think I want to pick The Orphanage.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I still want to hear what Dave would pick. Dave, you pick.
Yeah, The Orphanage is fine with me.
Okay. I'm glad you said that because obviously my pick was going to be The Orphanage. I've been wanting to review that film for so long. I love it, but...
The Others, then.
It's okay. I mean, Dave picked The Orphanage, so you go review The Other. Actually, the one I actually haven't seen is still is Bram Stoker's Dracula, so...
Oh, man, I know. And Dave, you just saw it like a couple years ago. But
and fucking loved it. Gave it 9 out of 10. Or 10 out of 10.
I really want to see The Orphanage, though.
Yeah.
Have you never seen it?
I don't believe I have. And I remember Brandon blowing it.
Okay.
That's why. I'm pretty
That
sure I haven't.
I blew everyone at The Orphanage.
I've seen The
That changes
Orphan.
everything. The Orphan is good, too.
Yeah, I blew her at The Orphanage.
She blew you at The Orphanage.
In the shower.
In the shower.
Fucking shower joke is getting...
Sure.
I want to show my daughter.
Oh boy. If Bram Stoker's Dracula is not a mistake, then we'll do that too. But I think he gave us a choice of 4. But if I'm wrong,
what else is on the agenda for next show?
For a couple of triple R's, Humanoids from the Deep, and The Funhouse from Chris and
cool.
Yeah, so fun show.
All right.
Yeah,
sounds
2
good.
triple R's and 1 feature, and then the rest of us will be us having some fun.
Maybe a little walk dogging segment.
Little walk dog in. Yeah.
Love Walk Dog.
That'll be episode 90.
Episode 90.
Yep, and this was episode 89, of course. And we're 10 away, 10 away
close,
from the
yeah.
big one. Episode 100. Get ready, people. It's going to be a big one. A big.
It's a doozy.
It's a doozy. Yeah, right.
On that note.
What? Who said that? What line was that? What movie was that from? And what character said it? It's a doozy.
Oh,
Watch out for that first step. It's a doozy.
Oh, yeah, wait.
It sounds like Matthew McConaughey.
No, it's not.
It might sound like Matthew. It's nowhere near
It's not Matthew McConaughey. Watch out for that first step. I know that part. Damn it. Oh.
First step, it's a doozy.
Give me a
I
hint.
know it.
Give me multiple choice.
I'll tell you the character's name who said
No,
it.
Yeah.
multiple choice.
You won't know. You might not know if I say the
I
character.
will know it.
You will
Give
know.
me
Okay.
multiple choice.
Okay.
I guarantee I'll get
Well,
it.
multiple choice gives you the name as well.
Oh, okay. Forget it then. Then what do you think is a little bit harder? B, do it.
All right. The character's name is Ned. Ned Ryerson.
I'm never good with that name. Ned Ryerson. Hold on a second.
It's a Bill Murray movie.
Oh, I'm way, way off then. I thought
It's
it
not
was a horrible.
Scourged, is it?
Groundhog Day.
Fuck, that's it, yeah.
Watch out for that first step. It's a doozy. Ned Ryerson. It might have been. I mean, watch out for that first step is a line that I'm sure has been said in other films.
Yeah, but it's
Dave.
doozy.
I'll just edit
Dave
that
all
whole
excited.
segment out.
No, I was way off.
Yeah, we'll just delete. We'll delete all the way back to 10 the Den.
10 the den.
the Bay.
Yes.
Friday
And
wants
as
to say
usual,
hello.
what's that? A cat? Oh yeah. Yeah, a little cat fancy going on up in here and exploding headquarters.
That looks like Dave's cat. Now pass it off. Pass it off to Dave now. And Dave, hold up your black cat. Let's see if it works.
Come here, Lucky, too.
I got lucky too. I have 2 black cats. Don't forget about Ginny. Don't forget about that. Come on. We got Ginny and Lucky.
Come here, Trish.
Trish.
Sorry.
Trish the dish.
Anyway.
Come here, Creighton Dookie.
I gotta go take a crate, Dookie. Really.
It just got instantly funnier when you said I have to go take a Creighton Dookie. That's a thing now, taking a Creighton Dookie. All right, guys.
Let me tell you, overact while I'm on the shitter.
We never know how to end a show, but it's always fun and great show as always. Thank you, listeners. Thank you, patrons.
Yep.
Awesome time as usual.
We
We'll
love
see
you all.
See you in the next show on episode 90.
Peace.